Now, help me out, Blaster. Transform and play something nice.
And now, a nice and nifty musical selection for easy listening. Hold on to your dancing shoes and go, man, go!
One shall stand, one shall fall.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to One Shall Stand, One Shall Fall, a Transformers TCG podcast broadcasting live from an underground bunker in the middle of the murky Midlands.
I want to boot some Decepticon right in his turbocharger.
Whoa. Calm down, Cliff Jumper. Wow. Seriously, put that gun down. You're going to kill somebody in this studio. Goodness. Right, anyway, I'm your host, Lee, from Bluetop Productions, and today I have a motley crew of people to talk everything about Transformers TCG. That's right, the trading card game based on the cartoon from the 80s. This podcast will talk about news about the Transformers the TCG, new releases, deck profiles, and stuff that's happening in the community. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy.
One shall stand, one shall fall.
What up, guys, and welcome to Bleeped Up Productions. I'm your host, Lee, and the producer, Bleeped Up Productions. And today we have something very special. We're finishing off a trilogy of a review. That's right, this is One Shall Stand, One Shall Fall, the one and only... I am the one and only... That's right, Transformers TCG podcast here on the interwaves, or interwebs, should we say. Man, the trilogy is going to be complete by the end of this episode. Holy cow. BAYFORMERS has nuked us.
Tactical nuke incoming!
I think... it's nuked us as much as the ARC review did. And on this episode is my co-host from the ENERGON Hustlers, Dave. How you doing, Dave?
What's up, dude? Yeah, I'm good, man. We're nearly there. We're it's pudding time. We're on the dessert.
It's 100% true, the pudding, but I'm feeling overwhelmed, overflooded, overfull, should we say. But we still got to somehow cram some pudding in. I don't know how we're going to do it. So... guys, if you didn't know already, we're a Transformers TCG podcast, and we talk everything about Transformers the TCG. And now and again, we get to review and talk about fan-created sets. And the last two episodes, which is episode 19 and 20, we've been reviewing the BAYFORMERS World Strike set. In episode 19, we talked about the characters. In episode 20, we talked about the battle cards. And now we're here at the final furlong in episode 21 with the Stratagems. Now, I want to do a big shout out to the BAYFORMERS because they can't believe our endurance levels. They commented on one of our posts on Facebook saying, your endurance levels are legendary. Yes, we are. And we are dying slowly inside. I don't know how you're feeling, Dave, but I'm slowly falling asleep on this laptop here, trying to say, guys, slow down with your fan-created sets, please.
There has been so much, and I think we've got our next at least 3 episodes, probably 4, already lined up, because after this we're going to speak to Adam from BAYFORMERS.
Yes, we are.
Then we're going to review Alpha Trion Protocols 3.
Yes, we are.
Then we're going to speak to Dan Arnold.
Yes, we are.
So, guys, we've got so much exciting stuff coming up. I mean, we have got a lot. And that is not all. We've got other stuff in the pipeline. And we've got, I've had contact in the last week from 2 other fan set creators. We've got so much to look at. So don't worry. This game is far from dead. There is so much quality content out there. And we are excited to bring you this. This is, I don't know, the stratagems to me, as much as I love the characters, I always like looking at the stratagems because they can always breathe that bit of life back into those old characters, can't they? So I'm excited to go through these.
I am 100% excited for the stratagems. Exactly what you said, Dave. It brings back life into some of the characters. I haven't looked at all of them. There's a few that have stood out horrifically in my eyes because we've been playing some of them and going, oh my gosh, this has broken me as an individual. And a few of them we've played, I'm like, man, I'm going to try that one. I really want to play that because I really love that character. And it has brought breath of life back into that character, which is exciting. So, with that being said, guys, our intro is done. Are you ready, Dave?
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Are you ready, listeners?
Are you ready?
I'm ready to break it down. That's right, we are here, finally, at the Stratagems. There's 35 Stratagems. 35. It's a big number. Not as big as our battle cards that we did in our last episode, but it's still quite a number. So, Dave, how are we going to tackle this? Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first? How are we going to do this?
I don't mind. To be fair, the first one is revisiting a character that is very much dear to your heart.
Oh, it
he's
is?
got a pointy head. So why don't you lead off with this one, and then we'll alternate like we normally do.
So, number one, guys, we have Brace for Impact. This is a stratagem for Ramjet Sky Smasher. That's right. This stratagem is for Wave 1 Ramjet. Fantastic. It's going to cost you 1 star, and this is what it gives you. In the text box, it states, when your Ramjet Sky Smasher is upgraded with an armor and defends while in alt mode, flip him to bot mode. When your Ramjet Sky Smasher is upgraded with a weapon and attacks in bot mode, flip him to alt mode. And it will also give you +1 armor or defense. For 1 star, I like this. It's very interesting because obviously Ramjet is a bit of a big boy. This will take him, I believe, to 11 stars, Dave, I think.
Yes, it does. I've actually tried this one out. I actually tried this one before I got the cards because Matafa challenged me to a deck tech challenge and gave me wave 1 Ramjet. I was like, thanks. But then he said, don't worry, there's a stratagem. So I had a look at this already. I've played with it. Wave 1 Ramjet, I don't know why I'm struggling to say that. Wave 1 Ramjet is an interesting character because he was, for his star cost, 10 stars for 7 attack in alt mode is pretty brutal.
Yep.
Isn't it? But he's never been particularly playable outside of like limited formats like Turbo Draft and Sealed and that sort of thing. So he's kind of like languished, hasn't he? But I think this is really good for him because, you know, if you always want to attack with him in alt mode, but then he's very vulnerable to the counter attack. He's got, is it 0 armor in alt mode?
Yeah, it's pretty poop.
Yeah. So the good thing with this stratagem is obviously you swing with a weapon, and then when you take that counter attack, you flip back to bot mode where I think he's got 2 armor. So with the stratagem, it makes it 3.
Yep.
So I think it's good. Is it going to make Ramjet appear everywhere in tables all across the world? No. But does it make him a little bit more playable? I think it does. I always think the problem with Ramjet is he's fighting for space with lots of other planes at the same star cost, like Windsweeper. And, you know, there's iterations of Starscream that are only, like for 11 stars, you can get Air Commander Starscream, who arguably with the Airstrike Patrol. But I'd be interested to see how this functions with, because this doesn't add any text to Ramjet's box, so it remains blank. So I'd be interested to see how this stratagem interacts with that new bot, Nacelle.
Oh, sugar honey iced tea. Just thinking about that, yes. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. You can get free flips.
You can. Kinetic converter, maybe?
I was going to say, you could possibly have a card engine, draw engine with this guy. Interesting. And he can pack a punch as well.
What's the other kinetic card, is it? Or is it kinetic whip or whatever it is from Wave 4? That could be quite good as your weapon as well, yeah, because you could swing and then get your bold up as well. So, you know, I think it's got scope. I like it. I think this is a good card. Ramjet's like one of your favourite characters. Obviously, we've had ATP's iteration, which is arguably miles better. But I think if you're looking for something with a bit of synergy with Nacelle, this could give him a new lease of life. So definitely worth putting him on the board, I think.
100%. I really like it. I think it's a fun fun stratagem. So, yeah, good start with number 1. So let's move straight into number 2 then, Dave.
Okay, this is a really, really cool one. I like this one. This is Brutal Conditioning. It's for melee characters. It says, once per game, when one of your melee characters takes damage from your cards, you may put this on that character. When the character this is on takes damage from one of your cards, put a conditioning counter on this. Then, if this has 3 or more conditioning counters, flip this. And it flips over to the other side, which is just a picture of the artwork, but it's +2 attack, +2 health, +2 armor. That is bonkers. Because let's face it, it's not difficult to damage your own characters. Scouting Mission, Camion Crash, Mag Ray, Photon Bomb, like Strafing Run or whatever it is. There's so many cards that you could plink your character away and then just, yeah, +2, +2, +2. What do you think, mate?
Right. I'm looking up a card as we speak. Fun interjectual music.
Welcome to Intermission.
Bumblebee Trusted Lieutenant.
Yes.
Like 10 stars. With him, it'll be 11. So when you trigger this fun shenanigans, you need to make sure he's in this mode. But then to just go to his bot mode, even though he's ranged, you'll have this card on him anyway if you've triggered it through the melee and all that jazz. He goes to 8, 16, 3. That is stupid.
It's really like, it's not going to be hard to do. It's not going to be hard to do. You know, can you imagine this with Quake if Quake's on your team?
You're dumb. You're dumb.
Because every time a character dies, it's a separate trigger from Quake. So if you machine gun off a load of characters, you can get this active incredibly quickly with Quake. So you, because you can run Quake for 8 stars. You just run him with Kreb for the head for 1 star, and then he's 7, so 8 stars. You've got 17 stars left to build the rest of your team. Make them all melee characters. Brutal Conditioning really does some nasty stuff. Tell you what else would be horrible with this: Erratic Energy Grenade. Put it on one of your melee characters every turn, so it's gonna just, you know, cook off, and then you can, like, I don't know, quartermaster the grenade off to someone else once you've triggered your Brutal Conditioning flip. There's loads of stuff. I believe, I'm not sure from the recent Bayformers event, that Brian Blair one, I think he was running this with Exhaust as well, so it's good. Like, +2 across the board. If you can trigger that, that is gnarly. I think that's a very, very strong strategy.
I think it's really interesting because you could also, how the guys are breeding life back into Dinobots with some of the ATP stuff. You could take out one of those strats and put this on, and then if you trigger this with Grimlock, God help us all, that will definitely become, even though, yeah, exactly. Like, I'm just looking at it now and going like, so we know we've got a King Grimlock, but that will put him up to almost King Grimlock stats almost for much cheaper star points. Oh my God.
For 11, yeah. And all you've got to do is run a few cards in your, you know, the cards in your deck that do that, like Erratic Energy Grenade, like, you know, like all the other cards we've just said. So this one is definitely a scary prospect. And the fact that you could damage your own character, get the Brutal Conditioning, and then Energy Transfer or Callous Leadership or whatever, the damage off onto someone else. Like, Grimlock's a good example. Sludge. Pump up Grimlock, then remove all the damage off him with Sludge.
100% true. With I Still Functions and all the fun shenanigans, Energy Transfers, all those fun cards. Oh my gosh. I might need to go back and look at dinosaurs with this. That might be quite interesting.
I think it's going to be gnarly. I think it's going to be a good one. So definitely one to watch out for, listeners. If you like your melee characters, I think this is a strong contender for being in your deck with a minimal change to how you build that deck. You know, it's just a slight tweaking strategy. So I think it's really good. So next up, mate, what have you got?
Okay, number 3, we have Buried Banquet, which is Alicon Iuki, or however we pronounce it. I forget how we pronounce this one. Bog Scavenger. It is a stratagem. It is 1 star, and it states on it, when your Alicon, insert name here, Blog Scavenger attacks. You may put a black or green upgrade from your opponent's scrap pile into their KO area. If you do, repair 1 damage from her. I think the silence speaks for itself. Oh my gosh, this is insane. Like, so I believe the Alicons are like 5 or 6, aren't they? Something around those stats. So you add this for like...
They're 5 stars.
Yeah, 5. So this will be 6. And then you basically can go, right, I don't like your fusion borers. I don't like your pocket processors. Oh, you've got these other cards that involve black and green. Okay, that are upgrades. Yeah, I don't like them. So, yeah, nom 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 every time I attack. So, oh my gosh, there's some shenanigans with this guy.
Our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really. Evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
I've got ideas already brewing in my head about untapping. There's that black card I forget off the top of my head, which allows you to untap certain characters of certain cost. Oh my gosh.
New orders. Yeah.
New orders. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I love this. I love this a lot. Dave, your thoughts?
I really like it. It feels to me like a Magic the Gathering ability with the removing stuff from the scrap pile forever, like effectively just getting rid of for good KO area. It's very hard to get stuff back from there. There's only a handful of cards that really interact with that zone. So I think that's good in itself because you go, right, that card's an issue. I don't want to see it again. I'm going to, like you say, eat your pocket processor or eat your toolbox or whatever card it is. So it's dealing with that in the future, so it's preventing them from getting it again. And then you're repairing your damage. So if you've got toolbox on your Alicon, and what I found with the few games I've had with the Quintessence is they really like their green cards anyway. So like toolbox kind of fits in with that sort of strategy model of, you know, I just think it's good. Like you say, and she still is cheap. Six stars is very, very cheap.
100%, and I feel like
that's not forgetting her abilities either, is it?
No, her
actual card's got abilities.
Yeah, her abilities on top, and then also the other Quintessence shenanigans. Like, I feel like I just need to bloody play these characters already. I need to get them. I really like.
You need to order your set.
Just need to get my set sorted. So.
We can do that. Don't you worry.
It's great.
We're going to be doing an order at the end of the month anyway, aren't we? So.
It's true. Our order is getting a little bit big. So guys, slow down, please. It would be nice. No, absolutely. But yeah, Buried Banquet. Absolutely love it. I feel like it could be an auto include, but it depends on how you're building your Quintessence. So yeah, I really, really like it a lot. So
definitely. So moving on, we are revisiting an old character again. This is cool. Cantankerous Attitude for Dinobot Slug, the Hot-Headed Warrior. So this is Wave 1 Slug, or Slag as I know him. Slag. When you play an upgrade... when you play an upgrade on your Dinobot Slug, Hot-Headed Warrior, you may scrap an upgrade on one of your other characters. If you do 2 damage to an enemy. When your Dinobot Slug, Hot-Headed Warrior defends, you may scrap an upgrade on him after the battle. If you do, move 1 damage counter from him onto the attacker, and it gives you +1 health for a star. So that's an interesting one. What do you think, mate?
I feel like this is hilarious just because you could build Dinobots really interesting with a ton of removal, and you can actually try running Slug, and you're basically, if you get it off correctly, you're doing a 1 shell stand, 1 shell fall, just saying, a great podcast as well, to one of your characters, and you're not taking any of the damage, if you will, and you're repairing 1. It's insane. I really like this. I think this is one of my favorites of the stratagems that we've basically got in this set, just because I'm a big fan of Slug, or Slag, as we like to call it in the UK. I really was kind of cheeved that you couldn't run him with Grimlock and a few of the others. I was really, really disappointed about that. Thank you, Wizards. You constantly keep disappointing me. But this just breathes life into him a ton, and I absolutely love it. And yeah, it's just really sad that you couldn't run him with Grimlock and the boys. What are your thoughts, Dave?
Yeah, exactly that. Like, he was the worst one. You know, he was vanilla. Like, yeah, he's got good armor in alt mode, but he's got really pants attack for a Dinobot. He's just too expensive, isn't he? He's what? This still pushes him at 10 though with the stratagem. It's interesting, and it's another. You could possibly be looking at a slightly more defensive build for your Dinobots, and just try and have them tank damage and grind down the opponent, rather than the orange bold Hulk smash that Grimlock is. So if you don't own a Grimlock, this could be a good way of powering up the Dinobot team without having to have the expensive card Grimlock. It can open up some interesting deck building things as well, because remember all those upgrades from Wave 3, when this is scrapped from a character, blow up an armor, blow up a weapon, whatever they are. I can't even remember what they're called, because they just never saw any play, because you always just ran bashing shield and enforcement battens instead, because they were better. But this could breathe some life into them. Again, it's kind of similar to the Ramjet, isn't it? Is it going to make him a top tier character? No. Is it going to make you put him on the board and have a bit of fun with him? I think so. I think this could be fun in the Deck Tech Challenge. Let's give each other some really janky old characters, but you're allowed to take the stratagem.
100%.
And see what we can get going. So yeah, I think, like you say, 3 point damage is actually quite good, because it's direct damage as well, and it's not. The 2 damage isn't to the defender, it's to an enemy, so you can pick off another character. So you go, I'll swing with Slug, I'll scrap this card from Wave 3, which I can't remember the names of, blow up one of your upgrades, and then I'll shoot that guy off the board. Oh, and then you know, next turn when you come into me, I'll scrap my armor and move the damage over.
It's super versatile. I feel like Reprocess loves this. And then you want to run, like, I'm just looking at it now, like, you want to kind of, how I'm looking at, like, building this with an idea is basically have a blue kind of healing deck where basically you're running all these cheap armors that you can search for, and then the extra paddings, and then basically go, cool, this turn I will just reprocess one of those extra paddings, I'll heal 2. Oh, and then I'll just do 2 damage to an enemy, and then I'll just come and swing with you and Slug, and just... There's some cool, I really agree with what you say. I think there's some fun shenanigans. Maybe.
Our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really.
Dare we say it, in the not too distant future with the project that we're working on with a few other people, that we might just have to have a slugfest, should we call it, for a month, and basically just
the slugfest.
Just do loads of different builds using Dinobot Slug and this stratagem. I think it'd be really interesting and very unique.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what everyone comes up with. Definitely. Ooh, next one for you. Ooh, again, revisiting again these characters that don't see play. So who have you got?
I have the stratagem Cerebro Shell Shock, which is for Bombshell in Secticon Mind Controller. So this is Wave 1 Bombshell. Let's just get it out of the way. He's trash. Enough said. He's just not that great. It's really, really sad. One of the most prominent Insecticons. Wizards just made him, is the best way of describing it.
Captain Vanilla.
Captain Vanilla. That is 100% true. Right, the stratagem. It states, when your Bombshell Insecticon Mind Controller defends while tapped against a damaged enemy, the attacker can't flip more than 4 battle cards this battle. It also gives you +2 health, and it's for a star. That is awesome.
I think so.
I like it a lot. It's, again, like we were saying at the beginning of the show, a lot of these stratagems breathe life into old characters. If you are thinking about running Bombshell originally, you're like, nah, this isn't that great. This guy now has the ability of just going, I can come in and hit quite hard, because he can hit quite hard, surprisingly. But now the fact is, oh yeah, you're going against bold things. You just put like Bravery or, you know, the card I love using, which I just forgot about. That gives you Bravery while tapped.
Oh, point position.
Point position, that's the one. And they have to constantly keep coming into this, and they're like, oh, I flipped this, I flipped this, I flipped. Now just 4. Or you hilariously make it even ruder and put gyro blasters on it. You know, it's just hilarious. You know, this is awesome. It makes me want to field Insecticons in a very different and unique way. I think it brings life into a character which, yeah, like we said, was very Captain Vanilla. So, Dave, your thoughts?
I think it's cool. Like, there is a Blue Bugs archetype out there with some of the wave 3. No, is it 3 and 4?
It's 4.
Did some new bugs, didn't they?
One of those waves did.
Yeah. So you could do like a Blue Bugs build with this, because although he was Captain Vanilla, like you say, his stats weren't horrible. Like, he's got 5 attack in bot mode, but in alt mode, if you've got bravery on this guy, he's got 4 armor.
Yeah, bro.
Stack your deck with all those horrible things, like anti-pierce cards, come at me, bounce off me all day. Like, if you've got Trithyllium plating on this guy, or you're running Tetranite micro plating from Bayformers, like, oh god, he's going to be he'll be like Aimless was before Black Pips went crazy. Do you remember Aimless just would not die?
Because he's a gangster. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, because he is a gangster.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
This pushes Bombshell up to 9 stars, but if you build that deck around it, you've got a very resilient character. 12 health with 4 armor is really good.
Yeah, if you think about it, most bugs are like 6. So you could run probably 3 wide with a few star cards and a few other things. There's some good stuff. And even just normal stuff as well, like Cerebro, Shell Shock. I approve. I like it. I think everyone should try and get Bombshell out of their binders.
Totally. So, moving on, we're to a stratagem for one of the, well, I'd say the flagship card of World Strike. And this is Colossal Cannons for Gilthor, the Chained Amalgamation. It's a star, so that pushes him to 14 if you want to include this, but this has got some spice on it. When your Gilthor Chained Amalgamation does attack damage to a non-leader Decepticon, do 1 damage to an enemy Decepticon. And when your Gilthor Chained Amalgamation does attack damage to a non-leader Autobot, do 1 damage to an enemy Autobot. Bonkers.
Do we just say Octone without the flips?
Yes.
Yeah, we just say Octone without the flips.
Gilthor is hitting hard anyway. Is what, like a 7 attack or something in bot mode or something crazy?
It's just the fact that we always make fun of, oh yeah, my character lives on 1. You run this stratagem, after you've done attack damage, you just go, I live on 1. No, you don't. Kaboom, you're off the board.
This is it.
It's just so satisfyingly sad and savage if you're going against this. I love it. I feel like when we did our characters, both of us love Gilthor. We think Gilthor's probably the standout big boy of the set. And Dave and me love our big boys.
And say it with me! Beefcake!
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 And I feel for how many stars and for how much he does, and including this, I feel like this could easily be... I personally feel like this should be a auto-include on the big guy, because you will see Decepticons and you will see Autobots. But then there is the opportunity of when you come to sideboarding and stuff like that, to have the ability to switch it in for something else maybe would probably be very versatile with it. But to be honest, this is scary. This just takes Gilthor from being, oh yeah, I'm going to hit you hard, to I'm going to hit you hard, and when you're down, I'm just going to hit you down even more.
That's it.
Just because you think the fight is over, it isn't.
It's a really, really good addition to a already strong character. You know, it's 14 stars, but that's not unfeasible. We've seen really strong teams with a centerpiece character of 14 stars, like Major Shockwave. Obviously, Galaxy Prime's, 15? You know, I think this is strong. It's going to be horrible. Like that, so that splash damage going across the, you know, you just, like you say, you pick off guys that are lurking at the back. It's going to be horrible. Moving on.
It's great. It's a really good strat. I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah. This is a cool one.
Yeah, it is a cool one. Right, so number 7, we've got Dark Regeneration. This is for Optimus Prime Dark Awakening. So this is the Optimus Prime that is ranged, but has an Energon axe. Just saying this all.
That's the one.
We love that. We love that. I just constantly keep looking at that. But anyway, the stratagem, it states, at the start of the first turn, Move any number of damage counters from Optimus Prime Dark Awakening to another character, but not enough to KO it. That is for a star point. So after multiple rounds is pretty decent. So your first turn, if you've, gone in and you've taken some things, you can just move damage over and stuff like that. It's pretty unique. I like it. And I think it definitely is an interesting design aspect for this guy, because Prime is no pushover. Like, Prime Dark Awakening is definitely a general Prime, as we talked about it more in the character episode. But Dave and me really like this Prime, so it'd be interesting to see your thoughts on it, Dave.
I think it's really, really good. For an additional star, it pushes him to 12 stars, because it's at the start of the first turn. So I'm guessing that doesn't matter who's gone first or second. Like, this triggers at the start of the first turn. So if your opponent's going first, you just go, all right, I'm going to trigger Dark Regeneration, and I'll move, because Prime will have 2 damage on him, because that's what he comes in with. So you can literally just, for a star, you're doing like a Plasma Burst to someone and keeping your Prime back, it goes back up to 15 health. It's cool.
Could this work in conjunction with Brutal Conditioning?
Yes, it could. Yes,
Let's
it could.
turbo engine that up already at 2.
Yeah, it would do, because he's melee in truck mode.
It's interesting. You Dark Awakening or Dark Regeneration onto another melee character that has... Oh, boy, that's interesting. You could get the engine going on a smaller guy right off the bat. That's interesting. I like it.
Interesting. Yeah, I like it. I think that synergy, although, that you're then paying 13 stars for this Prime if you're going for the Brutal Conditioning and Dark Regeneration, and his star cost is 13. So you're paying like Battlefield Legend level of stars, aren't you? But can you imagine him once you get that? Because you could put Brutal Conditioning on him immediately at the start of the game, and then like in bot mode, late game, he would have 8 attack, 17 health, 4 armor. I think that's worth paying 13 stars for.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's maybe a deck idea in the bag for when I next build some decks. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Right.
Next one.
Okay, this one. Very interesting card.
Yeah.
So this is the Death Crystal Cannon. This is for Sergeant Cup, Veteran Sergeant. Poor Cup. Never gets old of how bad Cup is. Very sad. Anyway, it's 1 star. The stratagem states, when one of your characters that has 7 or more attacks and you have Sergeant Cup, Veteran Sergeant on the battlefield, do damage to the defender equal to the number of loading the cannon cards in your KO area. It also gives you +3 health, and it's for 1 star. So if we quickly interject with the loading the cannon card, this was in the battle card set that we review, guys. It's a secret action. It is a black, blue, and green card. It says reveal. When one of your character defends, the character gets +1 armor until the end of battle. After the battle, if the amount of attack damage that character took was less than or equal to the armor before flips, put this card into your KO area. So this, with this cup, a couple of these, and this stratagem, you've got some shenanigans.
Our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really.
Dare I say, building with the possible of just doing 3 damage every time just seems pretty insane.
Yeah, it's gonna be... It's one of those things, isn't it? It's like, it's a puzzle. Like, how can I make this work? Because to me, it seems like a lot of effort to get that. I suppose the reward is there, but the problem with loading the cannon is, if you're against someone that's attacking for real high attack value, it's not going to trigger loading the cannon into the KO area. So it could just be a dud strategy. I think the way to look at this card is it's taking Cup to 8 stars for 10 health rather than his rubbish. Was it 7, wasn't it? It was rubbish.
It was just trash health.
It was just rubbish. So effectively, you're making Cup be a 10 health character that has got a sideline that if it goes off, you're going to have like this crazy nuts ability. But I think it's going to be hard work to get there.
Cup's 8 health, so we'll take it to 11 for 8, which is respectable health-wise, but I feel like this is probably aimed at some fun, hilarious builds. Like we've stated multiple times when we've reviewed other stratagems and stuff like that, there's certain strats to make characters good or some strats to try some fun shenanigans stuff out. And I feel like this is a very interesting stratagem, but obviously you won't see this in competitive play. If you do, phenomenal. Congratulations to you for doing a great job. But I feel like this is just an interesting card that has an interesting design space with one of the cards they put in their battle cards, which will be quite interesting to see if we could try and get it working. Maybe we might need to just go to the lab and see the shenanigans, or even talk to Adam about the whole process behind this stratagem. It would be quite interesting to hear that on the next episode.
Definitely. Like I said, I think it's a health buff stratagem with a sideline advantage. So you could just play it for the health. But yeah, it's fine. Cup's one of those characters, isn't he, that he's never gonna stand out too much. So yeah, it's cool. And the next one, again, we're going back to another old character. And this is one of my, I really liked this character because of the traits it had. And this is a card called ENERGON Reclamation, and it's for Autobot Novastar Search and Rescue, who had the car and truck traits. She was at that time, she was quite unique, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was very unique. I think she was one of the first characters to have 2 traits.
Yeah, 2 vehicle traits.
Yeah, 2 vehicle traits, yeah.
So she's cool. It reads, when your Autobot Novastar Search and Rescue is in bot mode and does attack damage, put a fuel counter on this and flip her to alt mode after the battle. During the main phase of your turn, you may repair damage from one of your characters equal to the number of fuel counters on this. If you do, flip this. You get +3 health for a star. So just going back to the card we've just looked at, and then looking at this is a very similar, it's a +3 health 1-star stratagem, but the sideline on this is way easier to be impactful than the Cup one.
It's really interesting to see that Nova Storm got a strat. I think she's incredibly good because, to be honest, she's 12 stars with very decent stats, like 6 attack in alt mode, 3 armor in alt, and 13 health. If you put this stratagem on her, so she goes to 13 stars, she is a 6, 16, 3 in alt mode, and then in bot mode, she is going to be 7, 16,
2. Yeah.
It's pretty decent. And obviously, it's kind of cool to have the ability of, oh yeah, she's really weak. She hits hard in bot mode, but she is quite weak. To then go, if she does attack damage, which she probably might do, because 7 is no joke, guys, you then get to flip back to your armored truck ability, which is, 3, which is much better than 2. Let's think about it.
Yeah, definitely. Again, it's kind of similar to that ramjet stratagem that we looked at the beginning. Like, it's making her much improved. I think the difference is with her dual traits and the ability to repair. So if you can get some untap somehow with her, like using, what's that card from the Arc Mathers card, Nothing's Going to Stand in Our Way. You can get a couple of attacks in with her, or swap missions. I'll tap my little guy to untap your Novastar so you can punch them really hard again. And then once per game, you're going to repair a bunch of damage. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I feel it. It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
And of note, and this is different to the Arcwave one stratagems. Remember the ones for Crosshairs and Spinister, that when they flipped, you lost the health buff?
Yes.
If you look at the back of this card, it retains the health buff. So that's something that's been thought through. I don't know whether that's something that's followed on from the Arc ones not keeping the health buff, and Adam was like, I'd like my characters to retain that. But it's good. So it means, you're always going to be 16 health with Nova Star. There's never a point where you're just going to automatically lightning bolt yourself, or bolt of lightning, whatever it's called in Transformers, for 3 damage just to flip your strat. So yeah, I think this is good. I think it's going to make her a stronger character. And again, it's good because anything that can push a widely available character into like realms of playability, I'm all for, because not everyone has the money for Galaxy Primes and Battlefield Legends. You know, they're even now they are still expensive cards. So anything that can push was she uncommon or a common? She wasn't high rarity, was she?
She's common, yeah. I thought she was common.
So that's really cool. Like pushing, you know, because I would play her at 13 stars for 16 health with a great ability. You know, I think she's strong.
Yeah, and with the ability of cheap cars and good cards and good trucks that are cheap, you could easily run an interesting list with her, to be honest.
Just off the top of my head, you can run Arc, Bumblebee, and Brawn, and still have some stars for star cards and stratagems and stuff. So, yeah. Bleh. 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 So, yeah. Verdict is, this is a good one. I like it.
Yeah, it's good. It's really cool.
What have you got next?
Moving on, number 10, we have Enterprising Spotlight. It's for Mercenaries, Stratagem 1 star. This brings a big smile to my face. If your starting team is only Mercenaries, your deck can have up to 2 extra of Black Pip cards. Right, guys, we know that Autobots got a lot of love, and so did Decepticons with their Spotlights. It's great to see the Mercenaries have a Spotlight as well. It's really, really cool. Obviously, the artwork is from the new series of the Netflix War for Cybertron, or whatever it was, Earthrise, or whatever you want to call it.
Yes, yeah.
Better than the first season, and that episode is eventually coming, because we did do an episode of it on this podcast where we reviewed it and ripped the first season to shreds in a comical way. So you will eventually get D, Ben, myself, and a few others on around when we can, obviously because of Corona. But I love it. Mercenaries, like we said in our character reviews, they were in one set and then, let's be honest, brutally forgotten about. I know, obviously, the ATP3 set that has just dropped as of recording this has a scary Snapdragon, which is a mercenary in that set, and a very good Snapdragon, guys. If you haven't gone to check it out, I recommend checking it out. And obviously, you've got Octone, you've got a few others in there. It just gives them love, and they need some love. I really think they do. And also, if you think about it, I don't know, is Bruticus 25 stars, Dave?
He's 24 because Vortex is 4 stars, so you can run this with Bruticus.
There we go. Enough said. You can run this with Bruticus. So I don't think I could say anything else other than I love it. Dave, your thoughts?
No. The Spotlights for Autobots and Decepticons are highly playable. They see a lot of play. This is going to do exactly the same thing. I think you've covered everything. They're just good cards, and it's worth, if you've got that odd star left over, you're effectively netting a star that you can spend on cards. So yeah, highly playable, definitely needed for the faction. And like you said, there's more mercenaries coming about. We've also got Wave 1's got some mercenaries with Nor and Bruticus and the baby Sharkticons from that. There's mercenaries in this set as well, so yeah, it's good. It's good.
It's good to see mercenaries back.
Definitely.
Because Wizards forgot about them. Let's be honest. They're like, oh, this is a really cool thing. No more. Like, you would have thought they would have put some more in later sets, because they introduced them in Wave 3, I think, didn't they? Or Wave 4 or whatever.
Yeah, it was Wave 4. Yeah, we just didn't have time for them to really develop them within Wizards of the Coast. You know, sadly the game was officially cancelled, but it's, you know, there's so many good mercenaries that are being made in these fan sets.
True.
I don't think we can really sort of lament on that too much now. Like, there are a lot of good mercenaries that are coming out or have been released. So this will give them some stuff. You know, it'll be interesting to see, because there's an upcoming tournament where World Strike and ATP 1, 2, and 3 are legal together. So it'll be interesting to see what craziness comes out of that and whether any mercenaries get played.
I hope they do. I would love for a fan set. So anyone who's listening to this, I would love a bludgeon that is a mercenary with some cool abilities, because I know he's a Decepticon and all that jazz, but to me, I would like him to be a mercenary just because the lone samurai because that's what he kind of feels and looks like all the time. I would just love a Merc Bludgeon that is a tank. That would be cool because it can open up some fun shenanigans and some cool traits to run him with Autobots as well as Decepticons instead of just sticking to factions. I would love that.
Next one is...
Ooh, boy!
It's called Forbidden Sorcery, and it's for the Red Wizard, the ruler of Mononia. So it's 1 star, very similar to the card we just looked at. Your deck can have up to 2 extra stars of battle cards with no battle icons. So very, very, very similar. Run the Red Wizard, you get, for what is he, pre-Stratagems?
He is 8 stars, so go to 9. And the best thing about it is, obviously in alt mode it says when one of your characters attacks and you flip at least a card with no battle icons after the battle, you may swap a card from your hand with a card you flipped with no battle icons. That just makes his alt mode really, really, really just shine.
It's good. I'm just trying to think which battle cards have 1 star. I can't struggling to think. Let's have a look.
Welcome to Intermission.
Bolt of Lightning.
Yep.
Bolt of Lightning is definitely one that screams out, hello, let's just have some fun stuff, shenanigans.
Our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really.
Lucky Dodge is one, isn't it? Lucky Dodge from Wave 5.
I think Lucky Dodge is one. I think you're right with that one, Dave. Survey says Dave is correct. Ding, 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 ding. Lucky Dodge is another one.
Glass Suit from Wave 4. So there's a few choices, isn't there?
Suit from Wave 1 as well. Yeah, mate, you are going for it. In the memory banks without looking. I like it.
I'm just looking. I am looking.
Oh, he is looking. So we are technically cheating on this quiz. If we're thinking about the Red Wizard, for 9 stars, and you can include more stars in your deck, which can be quite powerful, like Bolts of Lightning and Blast Suits and Lucky Dodge, just to name a few, I'll take a punt at it. I think that's rather good. I think it's rather tasty. Dave, your thoughts?
Gaining easy access to cards that shoot your enemy characters for 3 is good. And like you say, you can stick around like someone like Blast Suit or Lucky Dodge. Yeah, there's not loads and loads of blank battle cards that have a star, but the ones that there are quite powerful. So yeah, I think it'd be interesting. Again, there's another deck archetype that's going to be an interesting one to build, isn't it? Because he's going to be built very differently to how you would normally construct a deck. I think him and Wave 2 Skywarp are going to be best buddies for sure. So yeah, that's that one. You've got this is the 3rd time now we've had a stratagem for this character from a 3rd big fan set. So go for it, mate. What have we got?
I'm going to sound really rude. Just let this guy die. Just let him die, please. I love it. I'm joking. Right, okay, so number 12. This is Hit Me With That Beat, which is Autobot Jazz Special Ops. Wave 1 Jazz, everyone knows, is trash. Let's be honest. Just be gone. But loads of people want to try and make him work, which is great. So, the stratagem for 1 star you get when your Autobot Jazz Special Ops defends in alt mode against an attacker that has Pierce, and you flip at least 2 white pips. Do 1 damage to Autobot Jazz Special Ops. You can't take more attack damage for this attack than the number of damage counters already on him. This gives him +1 attack, +1 health for 1 star. Just let him die, guys. Just let Jazz just chill in a garage and collect rust. It's a beaten horse, I know, but Wizards done up Jazz when they first made him, to be honest. Let's be honest. And I love how all the fan sets have taken different, should we say, different takes on Jazz. but just let him die. Just please. I know he's very, very iconic, but it's just, in my personal eyes, there's better cards than Jazz. And sure, you can have some fun shenanigans with either the ATP stuff, the ARC stuff, or this. But just let him die. I think Jazz is my trigger word now. I feel like it is, honestly. I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy, but it's good. I think it's interesting. I just think it's this stratagem with all the other stratagems. I like how all the big guys who have made ginormous sets have tried to fix Jazz, and they've all done it in their own specific, unique way, which is great. And I've gone against all of them except this one so far, and it just makes me just cry a little bit inside, because I'm just like, oh my god, this guy's trash, but with this stratagem he's just stupidly good. Oh, why? But then I think it's also cars, and I think cars also is a trigger word for me. So Dave, I'll let you take over before I lose all our listeners.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting look at making him a playable character. I think you've covered why he was bad enough times over the last few months when we've been looking at stratagems.
Feels like a decade. It feels like a decade of trying to just say, let Jazz die. Just saying.
I think this one could be quite interesting if you make him brave. Make everything come into him. He could really tank loads of attacks, which could be really frustrating for your opponent, particularly if you're using the obvious cards of turbo boosters, start your engines, ready for action, all that jazz. You know, you could
good pun.
Yeah, good, you could keep him in the front line, and you can easily construct your deck so he's got that ability to flip 2 whites. So the first attack, you do 1 damage to him. Obviously they have to have Pierce, but how many times in an attack now does an attack have Pierce? I'd probably say 7 to 8 times out of 10 with all the black pips that are out there. That's going to trigger consistently. I think it's actually going to make him a real pain in the bum. The Alpha Trial one's really good as well. The Arc one's really good, where it just changes the wording to count an enemy with 8 stars or fewer. Like you say, there are better cards, but I think this one could be a real pain in the arse if you construct your deck in the right way. Just keep them coming into Jazz. It'd be horrible.
It's true. I think Jazz is just now my trigger word. I think it's Rat Bat and Jazz. Enough said. Rat Bat and Jazz are my 2 hated bots in this whole entire game, I think. Not to sound like a negative Nancy, I think it's an interesting new take on a character that obviously everyone who's been creating cards has gone, who's shit? How do we fix him? And everyone should be on the top of their lists is like Sergeant Cup and Jazz. They're the top 2 very iconic characters that Wizards just decided to just screw over. And it's cool to see that the fan sets are trying to take them in new different directions and make them playable. So it's cool. Right, Dave.
Ooh, big one.
Big boy.
And say it with me. Beefcake.
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 I don't want to talk about Jazz anymore. I feel Jazz is my trigger word. Let's move on to one that we love. Like, both of us love this guy. So, not to sound horrible or negative, everyone out there, all the Bayformers, it's a good strat. It's just Jazz. I've played too much Jazz.
It's making you twitch. You're literally sat there.
I feel like I need to find my stress ball or something, really. But no, this strat is very, very cool. Very, very cool. So Dave, take it away.
It's in the name of Slingshot, and it's for Superion the Sky Protector. So it's a 0-star stratagem, because obviously Superion's 25 stars. Before the game begins, deploy an Autobot Power Glide, the haughty show-off you own from outside the game to the battlefield in alt mode. At the start of the first turn, put 1 damage counter on each of 4 of your aerial bots. This is really good. Like, bringing in another character who happens to be a battle master as well. He's going to shine it. That turns Superion into a 6-wide team.
It brings back an interesting look at Superion. Obviously, ATP have done some stuff. We know there's possible stuff down the pipeline that the ARC have talked to us and like hinted at our interviews with of bringing back some combiner stuff. So I wonder if they'll basically try and make something interesting for Superion and the older combiners as well. So it's really cool to see that you get a Battle Master that obviously when it dies, it then goes cool, it goes into a weapon, you can put it on something. And then obviously if it gets removed, you can then put it in your KO area. But then if you run like Quartermaster or, you know, other fun cards that can bring stuff back, you can make you know, Superior on one turn just bring back a very interesting Power Glide and just punch someone in the face, which is pretty darn good. This might bring the Autobot Combiner to the forefront maybe, or something like that, because, you know, for a free strat, it's pretty darn good. So it could be really, really interesting to see a mixed combine of this with the ATP stuff. So if you are going to be in that tournament, I want some people to play Superion, and I will cheer you on 100%. I will cheer you on 100%.
Definitely. You know, you're for no cost apart from very minimal 1 damage to 4 guys, which then, like you just see in Bombing Run, you know, you're getting 29 star team because Power Glide's 4. So that's really good. So I think, yep, it'd be interesting to see what we can do. And pushing Superion to 6 wide as well. You can swing him with Power Glide on turn 1 if you wanted and just go, I'm just going to throw him under the bus and then get a gun out of it for my first attack with Fireflight. Yeah, I think that is good. I think that is good. So next one, mate, you've got always for another new character.
It is for another new character. So we are on Stratagem 14. It's called Indigestion. It's for Sharkticon Nor, which I believe is it is the Quintesson one. And it says your Sharkticon Nor has once per game, tap him. Scrap all cards from under this. Do damage to a tapped enemy equal to the number of cards scrapped this way. And then you flip Indigestion. Holy cow, this could be really interesting because this is obviously the one where you flip, put cards under him, and then do some fun shenanigans and loads of other cool stuff. This could be a game-winning burp, if you will. That, like, KO's... it's just a KOing burp from across the board to just wipe out or take out a key piece of your opponent. I really like it for a start. I feel like I want to play this and build some fun shenanigans with some of the card draw abilities that are already in the game and also in the Bayformers set. This guy could get crazy really, really fast. Your thoughts, Dave?
Yeah, I think it's cool. Like, he's really cheap anyway. I think all the Sharkticons are 4 stars, so it only makes him 5. And you can just keep him out of trouble, sit him at the back line, like you say, building up those cards on, and then just nibble them to death with the pointy teeth of the other Sharkticons, and then just, like you say, just belch up a death blow. So, yeah, I think it's cool. One thing I have found with the Sharkticons is they're very, very squishy. So you've obviously, if you're going to run this, you've got to find a way of protecting Nor, because he could easily just get KO'd very, very easily, and then you lose all the cards under him, because obviously once he gets KO'd, even if you can bring him back some other way, the cards that were under him will go straight to your scrap. So it's definitely one where you want to protect him, I think.
It's true, because obviously he gets +1 health for each card under him. He only starts with 4, so that's kind of sad. But then when you flip into his alt mode, you put a card under him. Or basically you flip a card and you may draw a card. But then when you flip to bot mode, when you flip to this mode, you may reveal a non-green card, put that from your hand under Nor. So obviously you want to try and keep him alive. So the best way of probably doing that is playing that holographic projector, so no splash damage can go on him. And also the fact that you just want to keep building and building, building, and then kind of in a way Primal Rage burp attack on someone could be really, really interesting.
Primal Rage.
That's a blast from the past, bringing up that old school Genesis/arcade banger right there. Go play Primal Rage. If you think about it, there was a monkey called Chaos that one of his attacks was a fart. Yeah, that's how cool it was. Burping and farting monkeys and like raptors, Allosauruses, T-Rex. Mate, that game was insane. It was super cool. Like Primal Rage. It's so good. Leave a like if you like Primal Rage. It was a freaking good game. I played it in the arcade and I got it on my Genesis, or as we like to call it in the UK, the Sega Mega Drive. I played that bad boy. Dave, did you play it?
My brother had a Mega Drive. I was always a SNES guy, so I was playing Street Fighter 2
There we
Turbo.
go. There we go. That enough said. You just said probably one of the best fighting games of all time. Fair play.
Definitely, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And moving on.
Kneel before us is the name of the next stratagem. This is stratagem number 15. It is for the mind control helmets. So these are the 1-star helmets, guys, that we talked about in the previous episode for the characters. And it says the character with the mind control helmet on has Brave. So, obviously we've talked about it. The helmet, and I believe the collar are 1-star heads.
Correct.
You take this with the helmet, so it's a 2-star head, but basically that opens up design space for you to put more cards into different characters and spend more stars, or put star cards in your deck. But also the fact is you turn that character into Brave. That's an interesting design space. So that's one cheaper, dare I say it, than Megatron's head, which I've been playing a little bit with recently. I like it. Your thoughts, Dave?
I think Brave's has really powerful ability anyway. Controlling where your opponent's attacks goes is very, very powerful. You know, I've been running quite a lot of Brave recently with Brawl from the Art Wave 1. I've even been running Magnus recently. Magnus teamed up with Retgar from Art Wave 1. Like, Brave is so powerful. And I think you kind of need to factor in. There's more and more with all these fan sets. There's a lot more Brave characters and Brave strategies coming to the fore. So cards like Spy Satellite Uplink and Battlefield Scan, I think it was, which is again a green-black card. You know, there was a big chat the other day on the Transformers group about Brave and how broken it is with Retgar. I think you've got to factor in that. So this is great. For effectively a 2-star head, that gives you Brave. Yeah, you don't get a little body at the end of it, but you put it onto a beefy beef boy, beefcake.
Beefcake!
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 That's going to be a real annoying character to have to deal with. So I think if you're going to be in a meta where this is prevalent, you're going to want that anti-Brave stuff, because Brave is so good.
It's good to see that the fan sets are embracing stuff that's already in the set that didn't get used well. So a lot of people have started putting Plan in there. Obviously, Brave is one. Even the characters of Mercenaries are making a return. It's good to see that they're basically fitting a design space that was already there, but then Wizards kind of just were like, nah, we'll forget about that, and we'll concentrate on Pierce, because that's always a good thing.
Yeah, let's just make Pierce nuts.
Let's just keep jabbing Wizards for just completely making a certain archetype blue not playable anymore. You know, it's great. But it's really cool to see the fan sets do take everything into consideration with stuff that's already out there, like Planning, Brave, Mercenaries. It's just really cool to see. It's really, really good to see.
Definitely. It's a cool card. And I think if you're running a team of Titan Masters, because we did lament that you can do like Fangry, Horrible, Crash Bash, all in the same build, given the one you care about the least Brave, like Fangry, because you just don't really care, you want Horrible to be your end game piece. Yeah, it's going to be horrible. It's good, no pun. But yeah, it's going to be really good. Really, really good. So yeah, that one's nasty. So let's move away from Headmasters, because I hate them. They're my trigger thing. I'm like, I don't like them. We've got the next one is it's for one of our favourites from the set. Localized Tremors for Alpha Sentinel, the Dark Guardian Relic. It says, when your Alpha Sentinel Dark Guardian Relic is on the battlefield and 2 or more enemies untap, your opponent chooses one of their upgrades and scraps it. And when an enemy untaps and its armor is less than your Alpha Sentinel Dark Guardian Relic's armor or defense, whatever it's called, do 1 damage to that enemy. That is fantastic.
It likes shooting cars.
It does.
I think it's great.
It's true.
Well, we talked about it in our characters. This Alpha Sentinel is awesome. It's super cool. His stats are incredible. This just gives him another star cost, which is fine. but that ability is very, very tasty because, to be honest, he is 16 stars. With this, it'll be 17. So you've still got space to put in some Stratagems and Alicons and stuff like that, which is great.
It's really cool. And the way it's worded as well is you do the top part of the card first and work your way down. So the scrap and upgrade trigger happens first. So if their only upgrade happens to be an armor, that buff in their armor, it's going to be gone before the second trigger resolves, which is when the enemy untaps and its armor is less than Alpha Sentinel's armor. So he's got like a smelt built in every wheel turn, and then each enemy that untaps, so say, because you're only going to be like a couple wide really, like 2 to 3 wide, you know, say they're a 4 wide team and they untap 3 characters because you've managed to kick off 1. All 3 of them hopefully going to take a ping damage. That is really, really powerful.
It's awesome. It is. It feels
really
like you're going up against, say, like a defense base, which is really cool to see, which hasn't really been kind of like touched on. Like if you think about it, like Metroplex is one, he farts out guys, that's cool. Triptychon doesn't really have anything special in base mode. But whenever you saw those bases, whether it comes to the comic or even, you know, the TV show or the anime or whatever you want to call it, like they were just like fire everything and like people couldn't get near them. And I think that's what the design team here, obviously at BAYFORMERS, has done, is like, but you just try come at this base. Just try coming at it from a distance. Just enjoy that. You're going to take some points of damage, which is really cool to see. Yeah,
I like it a lot. I think, you know, it's one of my favourite cards from the set, Alpha Sentinel, so anything that just improves him, and this definitely does, it's going to be really, really good. And I think you've got to have a strong argument for not taking localized tremors with him. I think it's very good. It's going to see play definitely on my table, definitely. So we're back to an old character, mate. Moving on, it's one that I gave you in the Deck Tech Challenge.
Yeah, way back in the day. Oh my days.
What have you got?
Number 17 is Magnetic Boomerang. What a great name for a stratagem. Raider Ironstorm Infantry Rainmaker. It is 4. So obviously it's for Ironstorm. It states on the card for the stratagem, when an opponent's card scraps an upgrade from Raider Ironstorm Infantry Rainmaker while he is in alt mode, return that upgrade to your hand. He gains 2 additional health, and that is for a star. I love it. I really do like Ironstorm, just because we talked about it in the character episode with the other Decepticon in this set, with the shenanigans of just like making blank text planes amazing. Holy cow, this feels like a scary include, shall we say, if you're going to be running those 2 and a few others. Oh my gosh.
Definitely. Yeah, it's Nacelle, isn't it? He's really, really good with both this character and Ramjet from Wave 1. So it's cool that they've put some love towards the vanilla guys in this set. I really do like that. This could be irritating as hell, is the only way I can say that. Because let's face it, he's already an annoying character anyway, because he flips the bot mode and boings all your upgrades back as it is. So he's good. And what does it make him? 16 health as well for 13 stars? Really good. Yeah, it's really good. Really, really good. I love Ironstorm. He was one of the first characters because I started around Wave 3, so a lot of the characters I first put on the board were Wave 3 characters. So Ironstorm was a mainstay of my decks for quite some time until I started getting some of the older, more powerful characters, because he was, for his rarity, incredibly good.
I'm liking this.
Yeah. And he's got really good stats. He's got amazing stats as well. 7 attack is horrible. He's really good.
If you guys haven't played with Ironstorm, I recommend going out and trying him out. He is a ton of fun. All right, Dave, moving on to the next one, number 18.
This is one of the most interesting stratagems for me in the set, because it's really different. So it's Mass Displacement Drive for Major Soundwave, the Espionage Spy. So this is Wave 3 Soundwave, the Spy Patrol one. So when your Major Soundwave Espionage Spy flips to alt mode, he has 5 stars while he is in alt mode, and it costs a star. This one is really intriguing, because I've been trying to rack my brain since I first read this when I got my set. How do you make use of this? What can we do to abuse him being 5 stars, because it doesn't reduce him to 5 stars at the start of the game. So you're paying his normal star cost to include him in your team. So, you know, have you had any thoughts about what you could do with this guy? Because I'm really racking my brain. I can obviously think of things like Laser Cutlass would be really good, because you can put it on him then, and giving him PS3 and +1 attack. The bigger they are, you know, he could just turn into a tiny spaceship, and the bigger they are, But I'm trying to rack my brains as to what other cards that this could work with.
Oh, fudge. New Orders.
Yes.
New Orders.
Yes.
It would be savage.
Oh, mate, that'd
New
be
Orders.
savage.
Oh, God.
Because you could untap him, New Orders him to, you know, you could untap him, you know, flip him to alt mode, New Orders him, and then, you know, the following round, or like rapid conversion, or do some shenanigans back, get him back into bot mode, swing and untap all your Spy Patrol.
New Orders.
Ugh.
The New Orders. Yeah, because I always included New Orders when I played my version of Soundwave. And I really, really thought that card is hit or miss, just because Black Pip, great, it does 1 pierce. If I get it, awesome. Laserbeak or Ravage gets to untap and do some fun shenanigans. But now having that ability with Soundwave to just, oh man, this is, love it. I love it. That's super cool. Yeah, I'm going to play this. I am going to play the heck out of this. I need to go watch my old battle report of my Soundwave build, and then maybe make some tweaks with some art cards, some ATP cards, and yeah, I'm going to play it. This is really awesome. I like it a lot. And also, I think it's just the fact that it's a character that at one point people just were like, yeah, I'm not really going to play it. But then they realized with some of the later battle cards, with some of them like, we always forget the name of this card, but the one that grants you 2 pierce when all your things are attacking.
Designated Target. That's the card that we always forget. Designated Target.
Designated Target with this as well is really interesting, because everything gets +2 pierce to begin with. You could have a turn where you just have boom, 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 hit everything. Okay, everything's already coming at you with +2 pierce already, on top of whatever I'm going to flip as well. You can have those horrific turns, and now having the ability to just New Orders and open up more card design, so you could easily do the bigger they are and stuff like that. Holy cow. Like, the bigger they are with Major Shockwave can be really interesting, because you're always running, when I felt with it, you wanted to run one, you basically wanted to run both, heavy-handed as well as that, because obviously Soundwave is a bit of a beefy boy, because he's only 10, but the majority of people you went against, they were lower than 10, so you could get that pierce off. Having that ability now to stay in the mode that you want, oh, it's just great. It's just really cool. It makes me want to go back and play him now. Thanks, Bayformers.
Fair enough. I look forward to it, because, you know, it is interesting. And like you say, I think the linchpin is that New Orders. So, yeah, let's see how many times you can untap all your Spy Patrol. It's going to be great. Going to love it.
It'll be like playing cars. It'll be mad. Okay, cool. So moving on then, it is number 19. 19. And it is Nobleus Spotlight, if that's how you pronounce it. I apologize. You know I can't pronounce words. Make words easier for me, please, people. It's number 19. It is for the Quintessons. This is a stratagem. Oh boy, here we go. If your starting team is only Quintessons, your deck can have up to 2 extra star cards of green cards for a star point. I think we've talked about this a ton already. The Quintessons love green cards. The Spotlight saw amazing amount of play with Autobots and Decepticons. In this set, we've got the Mercs as well as the Quintessons getting a Spotlight. I think that's perfect. Obviously, we've seen in this set as well, they've hinted at other factions they're going to be doing, such as Unicron kind of things, as well as Junkion stuff. So we're probably going to see more Spotlights down the line, probably. But yeah, super strong. And I like how the fact is the majority of what you see in the artwork is obviously from the movie, but also the fact is it is all the main staples of characters you will be playing in the Quintesson faction, which I think is rather awesome.
Definitely. This card is, I think, an auto include. Some of the most powerful Quintesson cards are star cards, like the aspects. Like, so if you're playing your judges, you're going to want this card. You know, it's in my ShardsCon deck. You know, we've covered the spotlights already this episode. They're just really good, guys. So if you're going to play Quintessons, put this card in your deck. Make space for it, because it really will help you out. It's fantastic. But I love the artwork. Like you say, it's from the film. We've got Captain Lever Puller over there. We've got Kranix on the plank. You know, it's awesome.
I love how we don't even quote him by his actual name. He's just Captain Lever for me. He's so powerful as well, guys. That character is ridiculous.
He is.
Like, he's so good, but to my eyes, it's like, I am the lever puller, and that is it.
But yeah, very, very, very good card. That, you know, and it's nice to see them put spotlights in as well for the other, what effectively are now the other two main factions, because Quintessons is quite a sizable faction within the set, so it's good to see them get a little bit of sort of like something on par with what the Autobots and Decepticons had. So that's really, really cool.
It's 100% true. I feel like with what they've done with the characters, which you can obviously go back and listen to, and the battle cards you can go back and listen to, they've really built the Quintessence up to speed, I think, personally, of a faction you can play right away instead of waiting for a couple of waves for stuff to happen, which is really, really good, and really awesome design on the part of the Bayformers to actually have the balls, should we say.
I like you. You have balls. I like balls.
Exactly, that clip right there, Dave. To bring in a new faction and make them play very different, but also we've played them. Well, I haven't played them, but you've played them, and I've seen them be really, really effective, which is really, really cool. So props to you guys over at the Bayformers. So, moving on. Yeah, boy. It's our boy. You get to this... Oh, mate.
This is Orbital Command, and it's for Captain Omega Supreme, Transport and City Defender. It's a 1-star stratagem. This one's really cool. So your Captain Omega Supreme, Transport City Defender, has the Guardian trait. So that's really interesting. Before the game begins, deploy an Autobot Countdown Aerospace Commander you own from outside the game to the battlefield in alt mode. Now, we've obviously done the character review. You have gone up, obviously, the Omega Supreme I was using the other day is a different one. We're going to come to that later. But you've gone against Autobot Countdown. Effectively getting him for 1 star is bonkers. What do you think to that, mate?
If I'm right in saying this, with the arc enforced as well, you could run both countdowns.
You could.
Insane in the membrane.
Yeah, like you could be running what, a 27-star team. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. How many stars is Captain Omega without this? I can never remember his star cost.
He's right here, Dave, because as you know, I've been playing him way too much recently because I love him, and he's 22 stars on his own. Then you play Countdown. Then obviously that increases your star cast of cards you can put in. You can put this in to get another Countdown.
So you can run a 5-wide team at the start of the game with both countdowns.
And how my deck plays, you can easily keep those countdowns alive. Oh dear God,
definitely.
Dave. This might just need to be an auto-include, just saying is all, bro. This might have to happen. It's
really good. Like, getting the countdown from this set, from the Bayformer set, is incredibly good. You know, his damage movement ability is strong. So, yeah, this is, again, a very, very powerful addition to them. And it's nice to see the sort of Omega Supremes get some love. You know, the Arc have given him some love with some of the weaponry and resilience. Obviously, we've now got this. ATP and Noah have just dropped their 3rd set this week, and they've done a stratagem for him as well. It's going to be really interesting to see which route because you can take him many different routes now.
I think it's really cool to see, well, Dave and me love our big boys, but one of my favorite, like, Autobots of all time to finally get some love. It's great. Like, honestly, yeah, I'm smiling from ear to ear. You know, good job, guys. I'm really, really excited about seeing some of the shenanigans that will be pulled with playing the Omegas now.
Our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really.
It's going to be really cool.
Definitely. Moving on, mate. You've got always this is I think one of the standouts. It's great. I love this one.
I'm just gonna before we even get into this. This card is insane. I've played against it. It is, I personally think, an auto include. I think Dave would agree with me. But anyway, before we get to our thoughts on it, it is called the Pit of Judgment. It is a judge's card. It is a stratagem. It is 1-star cost, and it states, this begins the game with swarm counters equal to the number of quintessons on your starting team. During the main phase of your turn, if you have a judge on the battlefield, you may scrap 3 green cards from your hand and remove a swarm counter from this. If you do, return a Sharktacon that has 4 stars or less from your KO area to the battlefield fully repaired. I believe the word is auto include.
Definitely. Definitely.
Dave, I'll let you talk. I'll let you talk, mate. I'll let you talk right now. Your thoughts. You've played this. Gosh.
If you're running a judge, you have to play this. Because they're really squishy. So if you don't have this, you're going to be down to just like 1 character very quickly. But what this does is you can keep your judge back protected by just sending in your Gribblies. It does mean you have to really prioritize card draw in the build. So you need things like Pocket Processor, like insurance write-off, equipment enthusiast, because you can stack a lot of equipment on the judge. Because you've gone against it, haven't you? Where I've had triple tentacle, armor, and the utility. So it's got a high cost. You've just got to ensure that when you're playing the deck, you've got a full grip of cards, because you will probably be more often than not scrapping 3 to get a Sharktacon back. But that in itself isn't, I'll pay 3 cards to get another character fully repaired, untapped, so it can attack. Yeah, it's an auto include, no brainer, without a doubt.
And it's very, very easy to build up hand card advantage with the quintessons. But obviously with that, there is the downsides of system reboot, security checkpoints, all those cards that scrap and mess up your opponent's hand to make this kind of stop a little bit. But to be honest, seeing Dave play this, it was hilarious. Like, it was just, okay, I kill a Sharktacon, I can do a little bit of damage over here. Right, I could kill a Sharktacon. Right, I could try and hit the judge. Oh no, another blooming shark has come back all of a sudden. Cool, I'll kill that, I'll damage another thing. It was just an ongoing horde, and it felt thematic, literally, as you are trying to get to the thing you need to kill. It was basically like going through a level in a blooming video game. You were just going against, right, I need to kill the boss. Oh no, he's fighting out minions. All right, I'll kill the minions. Right, I'm about to fight the boss. Oh no, another minion comes out of nowhere. You're like, gosh darn it, I just want to hit that big thing. Why can't I? And it just was great. And I feel like, yeah, it's an auto include if you're running the small things. Like your build was hilarious to chew through. Like Dave already touched on it. I think at one point you had 3 tentacles of some stupidity, and then you also had your what was the card? Trifilium, a few Trifilium platings on the Quintesson as well as a utility. And so when I eventually got to it, I was like, cool, yes, Megatron is swinging for 10. You were like, cool, before flips, 1, 2, that's 8 before flips. I was like, oh, god damn it, this is going to be a long game.
It was a long game. I think you ground it down in the end. I ran out of steam, but it's really, really fun. It's definitely a different way of playing a horde deck. The recursion is strong. So definitely, guys, if you're going to try out the Quintessons, try out a judge, because they don't look very good at first glance. But there's a video actually on my channel this week where I was running the Sharktacon, so you can get an idea of how they play as a faction. So yeah, awesome card. Love it.
Fantastic. Right, let's move on to the next one, Dave.
This is quite a haul, and it's another stratagem for Mercenaries. It's a 2-star stratagem. It says, when one of your mercenaries does enough attack damage to KO an enemy, you may use that mercenary's bounty ability. So, that means you get a double trigger off bounty, if I'm reading this right?
Oh god, this is great.
Octone, albeit if you're running Octone and this is 15 stars, but his bounty ability is horrible. Detritus is a bounty ability. Repair. I'll repair 6 off my Detritus, thank you.
It's super cool because obviously we keep talking about it. Mercs got pretty much shafted in Wave 5. I would have thought you would have at least put one Merc in there, Wizards, but you wanted to concentrate on Headmasters. I would have loved to have seen some more love for Mercs as previous sets continued, but they just kind of got pushed to the wave side, unfortunately. But here we go. Let's bring it up. Valuable Contract is the name of the card. So, when the upgraded character does enough attack damage to KO an enemy, use its bounty ability. And then bounty, for this, you could use this bounty ability on it as well. Choose a battle card you own from outside the game that has exactly 1 star and put it into your hand.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. There is a cost to this, though. It is 2 stars. It's quite a hefty cost on a stratagem, but I think be interesting to see this with the Spotlight and just see what you can do. Because those Sharkticons from the Arc set are cheap and cheerful, aren't they? You could just have one big mercenary who you're using to kill people to trigger the bounties a couple of times, and then just lots of little Gribleators to get in the way. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
I feel like we're going to have a Merc month as well whenever we get our thing going. Oh my god. We're already going to be making up like certain things that we're going to be doing. I love it how we've already got the ideas churning and getting certain individuals who are already a part of this. I already know they're going to have some things churning in their mind as well, so I'm excited.
Definitely. So next up is one of yours. It's for you, mate. So
23. This is Sound the Alarm for Autobot Pipes. Not going to attempt to say that name. I'm just going to call him the Collector because, guys, smaller words, please, for me, please. Right, Stratagem. It's a star cost. And then when your Autobot Pipes, the Collector, is KO'd, choose one of your characters, flip this, add its stats to your chosen character's stats, and return a card with Brave or Stealth in its text box from your scrap pile to your hand. Right. Okay. I'm going to go have a look at Autobot Pipes.
Welcome to intermission.
So, Autobot Pipes, guys. In his bot mode, he's 4 attack. In his alt mode, he is 3 attack. For a star, when he gets KO'd, to give that before you play other cards and stuff to other characters, it's pretty interesting. It's incredibly niche, don't get me wrong, but I like the idea behind it. I like the design space behind it, and also the ability to go, I'm just going to return a card with Bravery or Stealth in its text.
I think this is interesting, like, because obviously Pipes in the comics dies in quite a horrible way. So, to have something that kind of is that kind of thematic, and it kind of empowers a lot of the Autobots to obviously to get done what needs to be done. I'm not going to give you too many spoilers, but this is interesting. So what the way this works is when he's KO'd, you choose one of your characters and flip this card, and then add the stats on this card to your chosen character's stats. So what this does is it's a +2 health buff for when your Pipes dies, which is good. But yeah, returning bravery or point position is going to be gnarly. Or like, I really want to hide this character, I'm going to go and get stealthiness. Or if your opponents are playing lots of brave and stealth, you go and get your spy satellite uplink and get it back and go, actually I'm going to turn all that nonsense off. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Like, it doesn't jump out immediately, but a +2 health and some kind of nice toolbox ability is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, there is some fun like secret actions you could bring back that involve stealth and brave and stuff like that. I think it's cool. I really, really like it. Obviously, Pipes is quite cheap as well, so running this as well, you can build some fun shenanigans around him. And as we've already seen in the Bayformers melee, I should just say, battle cards, they love some melee characters, the Bayformers do, and there's a lot of melee shenanigans with trucks at the moment, so you could, hilariously, run a very unique and devastating trucks build with him. So it could be quite interesting. You could go 4 wide with trucks.
Definitely.
And dare we even say it could even involve the new Nova Star in there with to have a bit of a kicker. So you just think about her with this and some other fun shenanigans, you can hit for a lot.
Oh God, yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, put Brave. You know, the way I see you could do it, you could give Pipes Brave with a bravery or whatever. Send him in. Everything's got to slam into him. And then when he does go down, your star gets +2 health. So with that stratagem that we've just looked at earlier, that's a lot of health on Nova Star. I think that's really, really cool. I like it a lot. So the next one is called Squeeze Play. And this is for Crash Bash the Ocean Terror, the 6-star Titan Master that I lamented on. Again, just triggering. It's a 1-star stratagem, but I like this one. This is cool. Your deck can have up to 2 extra star cards with both orange and blue. So that's really cool, I think. So you can pay. If you're going to play this with a head, the minimum you can make Crash Bash is what, 8 stars. But getting an extra 2 stars, so you can run recon systems, you can run fuel caches if you want like triple pip goodness. You can run all sorts of stuff with this. There's quite a few star cards, isn't there, that are orange and blue, like Pincer Move.
Pincer Movement was the one I was standing out.
So yeah, there's some cool stuff there.
It's just, sorry, I just have to process like this thing that's growing in my mouth right now. I've just got to swallow it back down. This Fangry and this guy with Pincer Movement, all the bold in the... Oh, no. Why? I thought, why did we have to have flashbacks of Headmasters again? I feel like it's great. What more can we say? I don't want to knock it because I'm not a big fan of Titan Masters and I know it's Dave's trigger word as well. But this is awesome. I think it's really, really cool. It also opens up the play of, if you take this, you need to run one of those collars. Because, yeah, you've got to be very careful of that.
I think there was in the recent Bayformers event, I think there was a 4-wide Titan Master deck, and I think it ran Top Shot just to round out the team because he's leader and put Matrix and stuff on him. So yeah, this is a really good card. I'd be interested to see what we can do with it. I'll be interested to talk when we do interview Adam. Actually, be interested to get his thoughts on including a cheap, efficient Titan body in the set and sort of see his reasoning behind it. But I do think it's a cool card. I think it's really good, and if you're playing Crash Bash, certainly worth thinking about.
100%. Okay, so we have a very interesting one coming up next, which is Stratagem 25. It's called Stuck on You. It's a star cast, and it says, if your starting team has only 2 characters, each of your characters has an additional armor slot. During the main phase on your turn, you may put an armor from your scrap pile or KO area onto one of your characters. If you do, flip this. And when you flip it, it just has on the other side, if your starting team has only 2 characters, each of your characters has an additional armor slot. This is incredible and also scary. It's the best way of describing it. But we're going to get to that probably with the possible next stratagem. But I really like this because 2 wide, everyone's kind of like, I'm not so sure about this. I love this with Magnus, just because you want to keep that Magnus armor around. You can then, if you've got the points and you just want to do some fun shenanigans, you can put another Magnus armor on there and be rebellious or whatever.
Our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really.
I think it's really cool. Adding an additional armor slot to characters that already have some fun shenanigans on there if you're running 2 wide is insanely cool. Like, I'm just thinking now, we had Christian on a few episodes back. He was running Living Weapon. Remember, Living Weapon has weapons in all his slots. Cool, you can have all the weapons in the world on him. And, oh yeah, I've got an additional armor slot, so I can put some extra, armors on there and stuff like that. So it can be quite scary. Dave, your thoughts? Because you've played this a little bit.
I have played this. I think this is one of the more powerful stratagems in the set, particularly with the archetype that has come about with the Bayformers set. And we'll come to that because we're going to I think that when we come to the other card, it's going to be quite a lengthy discussion. I think this card is incredibly, incredibly good. for 1 star. The ability to fish something out of your scrap pile as well is very good. Like getting an increased durability, like when your character's on low health and getting +4 is very good. Pulling out, if you're including the arc set within your card pool, pulling out Trithelium. Yes, you don't get an extra Trithelium, but anything that shuts down Pierce if you're playing a defensive deck is really good. Sparring Gear, Force Field. It's really, really good. You could run this in a 2-wide team quite easily. You know, Optimus Prime, Battlefield Legend, and another character. When Prime's got 2 armor slots.
And another character. Even Galaxy Prime. Like, if you think Galaxy Prime, he has 3 utility slots. You add this to the mix, he has 2 armor slots. Whenever you wanted to not hear Prime, you're gonna probably see this played with him. I think, dare I say it, we might have to have a Prime month. Dare I say it? Maybe on our new... There's just stuff spawning from this episode in our minds for what we want to do, which is great. But yeah, I really like it. I think it's because too tall. Everyone's too tall, can't stick around. Too tall, can't do this. Too tall, can't do that. This makes it a little bit playable. Like, this opens up the idea for more of, I personally think, the idea of you creating a really interesting 2-wide build and not just go, I want to run this beefcake and this beefcake. I want to run a beefcake and maybe a utility piece, and because I've got this stuck on you, that utility piece can make the beefcake really well, but obviously they're going to target my utility geezer, so I need to keep them around long enough. So it's very, very interesting, and I think it's fairly costed for...
Yeah, I think it's one of the standout stratagems. From a competitive aspect, this card is already seeing play. The deck I'm running that is running this card has not been defeated yet. It's incredibly, incredibly good. So definitely one to watch out for. Make sure you've got your armor hate if you're playing in the BAYFORMERS meta, because this card will see play. Definitely.
100%. Now, before we get into the next cards, you can already hear in the background, yes, that is a warning siren. This is going to be a long, lengthy discussion of Dave and me probably yelling at each other, yelling at the BAYFORMERS, yelling at life, because what we just talked about and this interpretation of this stratagem is absolutely horrific. So Dave, I'll let you take the reign for this next insanely strong stratagem.
This card is definitely one of the defining cards of the set. This card is called The Last Line of Defense. It's for Omega Supreme, the Autobot defense base. Yes, listeners, Wave 2 promo Omega Supreme. This card is arguably one of the most powerful I've played from the set, and I've been on the receiving end as well as dishing out the pain with this. So this card reads, it's only a star. Your Omega Supreme Autobot defense base has Brave and an additional utility slot. When one or more enemies untap, you may scrap a card from your hand. If you do, move a damage counter from one of your characters to one of your opponent's characters, and it gives Omega Supreme +4 health, pumping him up to 28. Now, a bit of background on why we've got a long discussion on this is, I built a deck after my BAYFORMERS set arrived, because I love Omega Supreme, I always have, and I've always wanted Wave 2 run to be good. And I saw this and I'm like, okay, this card and this card seem to work really well together with Autobot Countdown from the set. So I'm going to build a deck, and it's my own build. I haven't looked at anything, but subsequently I've found out that Last Line of a Defense is a archetype within their meta.
You're dumb. You're dumb.
I played you, Lee, didn't I? And I don't think I've ever triggered you before, but you were spitting nails by the end of the game at just how bonkers effective this was. And I think if you're playing it in an isolated pocket of just BAYFORMERS cards, this maybe doesn't seem as bad. So for those listeners that haven't tried this card out with what I did, go and watch my video on the ENERGON Hustlers, where Claire is running Last Line of Defense Omega Supreme against the Stratagems, and you will. I don't often get salty when we're playing, but I was salty by the end of that match because it was absolutely grim. You were mad by the end of the game, weren't you?
You're dumb. You're dumb.
I value our friendship. So I'll choose my words. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, this is. I'm gonna censor the shit out of this. This is horrible. Like when you play this, Unstuck to You, it's incredibly strong. We've talked about it probably a bit after our first gaming sessions and stuff, and not to jump the gun too much, for what this does, I personally think, and Dave and me have talked about it, this probably should have been 2 stars. Because if you run this and Stuck on You, this is how it works for Omega Supreme, guys. You have 2 utility slots, you have 2 armors, you have a way of just constantly bouncing health. You also can run, what's the art card, Dave?
Resilience.
I just cry about.
Resilience.
I love Resilience, but Resilience with this is insane. With the new countdown as well, it just takes this guy from being I'm terrible to oh my god, this is almost god tier. Like it literally, we're not trying to overwhelm you, but the link in the description on YouTube right now to go see how Claire plays this, you will understand why this is an educational problem. Because it takes a little bit of a good character and immediately goes, okay, we're going to push you right to the front, and guess what? You're going to be unkillable because you've already got, you can only take X amount of damage with Omega Supreme. On top of this, you're also healing. Then you can also run Resilience so you can heal even more. I think the best way of describing it when I first played Dave was, I think I did a ton of damage to him, but by the end of it, he had board wiped me. Countdown was dead, but Omega Supreme was on like 6 health. Like I had only taken 6 damage.
Countdown was only dead because you were throwing direct damage at him. I think you can definitely tech for this card. You know, I was having a chat with Adam. Was it yesterday when my video? Yeah, it was yesterday when my video goes up on a Tuesday morning, and he watched it back. He's like, yeah, I'm not too sure that the Arc cards and this card play nicely together. He was like, Resilience with this is gross. HM Laser Cannon with this is gross. Trithelium Plating. So I there's not many decks that I've built. I love Omega Supreme, but I have felt I dished out negative play experience to you. I was on the receiving end of a negative play experience, and then last night me and Nazumi had a few webcam matches, and by the end of the game he was board wiped and I was on 7 damage with Omega Supreme.
You're dumb. You're dumb.
I feel like it's just like when you first play Sky Shadow.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Very much so. Wave 2 of promo Omega Supreme was dog shit. There's no other way of saying it. Yeah, edit it out as much as you want, mate. He was rubbish. And we wanted a card that made him good. And this definitely, listeners, really does make him good. But just be mindful of the kind of experience you're going to give your opponent. If you're playing in a tournament where there's strict expectations of what and isn't going to be played, and you're going to try and win it, by all means, run this. If you're playing this around your kitchen table with your mates or via webcam with your mates in a casual match, this is not a casual card. This is a tier 1, 100% card, you know. And like subsequently, Adam sent me the link to the tournament they've just had where our good friend Brian Blair won with a Cars deck. There were 2 last line of defense decks in the top 8. One of them was orange, which is completely different to my build. Because I'm a blue shell, you know me, I'm a blue player, aren't I, Lee? But yeah, it's tier 1. It's tier 1. Just be mindful. And I think if you're going to allow Arc and Bayformers cards together in any sort of events, Adam, if you're listening, you need to give serious consideration as to whether you allow this card to interact with cards like Resilience, because Resilience is dumb with this.
You're dumb.
The best thing of describing it is like it felt like a proper control deck, but when you're going against control decks, a little bit, especially for me, like personally, I'm like, wow, that was kind of cool. Like, that's how a control deck should play like. When I played this, I was like, I could understand why people hate control decks. Because this is just insane in a way. If you are going to run that combo, just be wary of your friends. Be aware of your friendships. But to be honest, looking at what Dave built, like, we can just seriously look at this and go, this is probably the best strat in the set, without a doubt.
I think so.
And
I think so.
And yeah, when you watch that battle report, you'll see how much it would be quite interesting to go against it, especially if you're thinking about, right, I need to grow the player base, because obviously a lot of people have left Transformers, but also a lot of people have come back or even picking it up now because of cards being cheap, and also the fan created stuff is really cool. Not to drive people away. I feel like for all of us in a certain group that we're a part of, which will eventually be unveiled to the world, I feel like we need to figure out an idea of how can we beat this and hilariously have maybe a session where we go, Dave, you run this, and we have to go against it and see. It's basically like a Thanos build, guys. How this deck feels is like if Thanos had all the Infinity Stones. That's how insane it is.
You could not live with your own failure.
It feels mad.
It's crazy. And bearing in mind, the deck that was on my channel was a first draft. So I hadn't looked at any other deck lists or anything. I've kind of got my control deck kind of like staple cards that I always include anyway. It wasn't difficult to build the deck, and it's undefeated in, I think it was about 9 games now, and for a first draft. So that again, it's like Sky Shadow. Like that was a deck that I built, and that got dismantled quite quickly. And as much as it pains me to do so, I don't think this will be a feature of games in our house, unless we were going to do some sort of like meta, like, you know, Blues on Attack do their Meta Mondays when they're recording, unless we were to start doing something similar on the Hustlers, where we look at tournament builds and actually build them and play through them and give our thoughts on them. So yeah, just be mindful, like Lee says, don't push your friends away, because Lee was really cross with me by the end of the game. He was like, that card is dumb.
It is dumb. It was basically, I'm trying to think. Insert the song here.
You're dumb.
There you go. That's how I felt. Like, I literally was just like, you are really dumb. Like, it's just frustrating how it is. I'm not going to lie. I think this is probably the best strat in the game. But also the fact is, it's giving a character who was a laughing stock, all of a sudden, is now laughing at everyone else.
Be interesting to see what your thoughts are. You know, have you played against Last Line of Defense Amiga Supreme? Have you watched my video on the Hustlers? What do you think about this? Because I definitely think it's bloody good, and I think it's arguably maybe too strong.
And we will pose the question to Adam as well.
So that was the Last Line of Defense. You've got a really cool one coming up next. So moving on to the next one.
So now we're back to stratagem 27, which is the solo job. It is for mercenaries. It's a stratagem. It states, if you have exactly 1 mercenary on your starting team, your deck can have up to 2 extra star cards of black pip cards. So the first thing that pops to my head is that indestructible blade, Dave. That card will never die.
I promise, I will never die.
Man, that is 2 quotes of Team America, maybe even 3 in this episode so far. But but that card, oh my god, just the ability of like, oh yeah, I'll get rid of your weapon. I'll just go in my hand. But I now can just have 2 of them in my deck for free.
Yeah, very, very good. It's kind of appropriate that it's Sound Blaster on the art as well, because you could run that with Sound Blaster, get them back onto him, then you've got a weapon that never goes away from him. You know, but there's other star cards that are black as well. Was it Plunder, the triple black pip from Wave 4?
Yep, Plunder. Who would have thought we would be talking about Plunder?
I know. It's good, but it's nice to see that they've done the Spotlight. So if you're all Mercenaries, you can have some Brucey bonus. But then they're thinking, well, quite often you only play one Mercenary, and they've given you a card that does a very, very similar thing to the Spotlight, but only if you're playing one. You know, this, I can see this in Octone, this in Detritus, Lockdown, Deadlock. You know, you just play one of. Quite often I was running Nightbird on her own. It's been really good. Really, really good.
It is rather, rather tasty. I really, really like it. So, Dave, number 28.
The next card, listeners, is Thermal Reciprocation for Autobot Powerglide, the Haughty Show-Off. Now, I complained when we looked at it first that he was a bit weenie, but this one is really cool. It's a 3-star stratagem. 3 stars. And it reads, when your Autobot Powerglide Haughty Show-Off takes damage from an opponent's card or has one or more damage counters moved onto him from an opponent's card, put a thermal counter on this. When a character upgraded with your S2 Thermal Reciprocator does attack damage, you may remove one or more thermal counters from this. If you do damage to the defender equal to the number of thermal counters removed. It gives Powerglide +1 attack and +5 health. So it actually turns him into, what, a 7-star character. This. Yep. So you can run him as a 4-star little weenie bot. You can run him with your Superion as a freebie 4-star character. Or you can play him as a 7-star character that's got a really, really significant ability. What do you think, Matt? I think that's awesome.
I think it's really cool. I think it addresses what you and me said in the character episode, that we want a Powerglide. We kind of get a Powerglide with this. It goes to, you know, shoddy 9 health or 10 health or however much health he has. It's not too bad. And for 7 stars for a plane, not too bad. So he's on par with some of the other, obviously, weapon-related cards in the game. So can't complain. Cannot complain. And I think the ability of removing thermal counters from him to just do damage when he basically gets upgraded is insane. So you basically get, like, if you think you've done enough damage with this guy to then just go, cool, I'm going to probably do 3-2 damage, that's, you know, it can be game changing.
I think it's really good. And it gives you a choice, doesn't it, with Powerglide as to how you're going to use him within your squad. Because this definitely makes him more of a brawler rather than a lurk at the back, waiting for the sort of the right time. Because he's really utility, isn't he? His abilities are really kind of like supporting role. So this I don't know, I really like it. I really like it a lot.
It is rather interesting, and it opens up an interesting build for possibly Powerglide in the not too distant future.
Definitely. So yeah, watch this space. We'll be looking at that. Who have we got next? Ooh.
I know, big boy strat as well. This is Third Party Brigade, and it is Brigade even, or whatever I would pronounce. I can't even pronounce the word. Right, for Bruticus, that's it. It's a strat for Bruticus. It's pretty darn good. It's 1 star, and it states, before the game begins, if 5 Combaticons are on your starting team, deploy a Shock Blast Galactic Man you own from outside the game onto the battlefield in alt mode. When one of your Combaticons attacks and you flip battle cards, scrap the first black pip you flip without using its battle icons. That is a very awesome strat because it basically allows you to play obviously the Battle Master in Shock Blast, but also the downside is, you know, that first black pip, or maybe the only black pip that you flipped in your thing, which is probably the first card you flip in an attack, that doesn't count towards your total Pierce amount, which I think is a rather awesome drawback to playing this. But then you are technically going to be 6 wide, which is, you know, that's Devastator territory, which is pretty interesting. Dave, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's like Devastator territory, but not rubbish. So, you know, the Combaticons and Bruticus is definitely, I think, one of the centerpieces of the Arcwave 1 set. Making it 6 wide is really, really scary. You're getting Shock Blast as well for like 1 star rather than 4. You know, it's the same as the Superior one we talked about earlier. Like, the downside is quite negligible. You know, when I was running Bruticus, it was black pip heavy. So if you just scrap one of them, it didn't really matter because the next one, you know, And he's big, you know, he's hitting for what, 7 base? He's got Pierce 2, Tough 2, Bold 2. So scrapping 1 card is like, whatever. You know, it's nice to see them put a cost on it though. You know, the same with the aerial bot one. There's a cost to running this. So yeah, you're going to get a bigger team, but there's a slight drawback. But if you factor that drawback into your deck construction, it's not really a drawback, I don't think. Like a bombing run with the Superion one, this you just play more cards that give you bold.
And if you think about it as well, with your deck design ideas, you could then add your quartermasters, because obviously when Shock Blast becomes that Astro Magnum, you get +2 attack, which is pretty decent, and a bounty ability, which is do 1 damage to an enemy. Your opponent chooses a card from their hand and scraps it. So it depends, really. It's very situational, but going 6 wide is pretty darn tasty. I'm not going to lie. It is pretty darn good.
I think so. I think it's really, really cool. And again, it's opening up deck options for Bruticus, because you can go Bruticus with Starscream's Brigade and try and recreate the episode from G1. You can do Bruticus with Shock Blast. You can just do Bruticus on his own and you know, not worry about any of these things. But I think it's definitely, if you've got Bruticus and you're playing with the art cards, definitely give that stratagem a try, because I think it'd be really cool. And it kind of leads into the next one, doesn't it? Because the next one is actually for Shock Blast Galactic Man. This one is called This Gun for Hire, and it's for Shock Blast the Galactic Man. It's a 3-star stratagem again. So very, very similar to the Power Glide one. And it reads, your Shock Blast Galactic Man is a mercenary instead of a Decepticon. Remove the text, is a mercenary, and from your Astro Magnum. So, +1 attack, +4 health. Very, very similar to the Power Glide one.
It's all but a carbon copy, if you will. It's really cool. It opens up the whole idea of Shock Blast now becoming a mercenary, which is the first time we've seen a mercenary that is a Battlemaster, which is really cool. Design space that never got used. I'm just going to beat a dead horse, really, isn't it? It's like mercenaries weren't really loved that much by Wizards. But it's good to see this, because obviously this can open up more deck design for just running all mercenaries, or dropping a Battlemaster in there that is possibly, you know, just a gun, which is really, really cool at the end of the day.
I can completely agree. I think it makes Shock Blast, again, you know, when we looked at him in the characters, obviously we hadn't seen, or we'd purposely not looked at all the cards, hadn't we? We're kind of reviewing it from with a sort of like fresh perspective. You know, but this will pump him up into a much more of a viable threat as a Battlemaster, but keeping him only at the same sort of star cost as like Aimless and Fire Drive and Lionizer, and it is a definite interesting addition to your deck, because it's not only a Battlemaster, it's a character that can transform from bot to alt mode as well. So yeah, interesting design space, like you say. Really, really cool.
Definitely. And this one is very interesting because this is very theme, I believe, and it's called TriggerCon Vention, which is a Ruckus Combat Assault. Everyone remember Ruckus? Yeah, the silence speaks for itself. No one remembers Ruckus. So anyway, we go for a star. It is the stratagem. If you have Windsweeper, Air Defense, and Crankcase Data Collector on your starting team, your starting star limit is increased by 4. So that allows you to play Ruckus with them, guys. So there's 3 wide already. And then you replace the text, move 1 damage counter with move 2 damage counters on the alt mode of your Windsweeper Air Defense. Okay.
Whoa.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mackey. Okay?
That's okay. Just don't let it happen again.
We won't let it happen again, Mr. Mackey. Okay?
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
Just keep on quoting Mr. Mackey right there. That is... wow. Just, yeah. Like, if you think about it, you're running Ruckus, who hits quite hard, Crankcase that hits really hard, and then Windsweeper, who, you know, is no pushover, but the ability just to go, yeah, I'm just going to move 2 damage counters on it, and that's even before the craziness and shenanigans. I like it. It's super theme. Obviously, they've gone with some sort of theme, whether it be in the comics or some sort of lore thing maybe. But, man, that is an interesting heavy-hitting team of Ruckus, Crankcase, and Windsweeper. Wow. Dave, your thoughts?
Yeah. it's a cop-out, but yeah, pretty much what you just said. Like, that is value. Increasing your star limit by 4 for just the cost of 1, that is crazy good. Definitely going to be trying out nearly all of these stratagems, I think, in the coming weeks on the channel. Yeah, it's really, really good. And that's a lot of health in 3 characters. Well, with Windsweeper's damage movement, that's a grim ability anyway, and I've only just recently got my Windsweeper. This might have to be its maiden voyage. I was going to say,
maybe this is the first time you venture out into the wilderness with this strat.
Definitely.
And with Ruckus, probably. Have you ever played Ruckus?
I think I played him once.
I don't think I've even played Ruckus, so...
Well, he was a bit crap, wasn't he? He's got no abilities. He's a bit rubbish. I think the Arc did the stratagem, didn't they, where you untap Kazi repairs and stuff. So that'd be interesting to see the difference between these two. Obviously, this is a very different team to what the Arc stratagem wants you to do. Obviously, you can't play both of them together anyway because they're both naming Ruckus, but it'd be interesting to see what a build using the Arc stratagem is like compared to a build with this one, and which one hits harder and better. So yeah. Maiden Voyage of Windsweeper coming soon with Trigger Convention.
All right, next one then, Dave. It's all up to you, sir.
This is Up in Smoke, and this is for Decepticon Exhaust Consumptive Condottiere, however you say that. Even I'm struggling. I'm quite good with big wordy words. So this says, before the game begins, you may reveal a smoke cloak from your deck and put it into your hand. Your Decepticon Exhaust Consumptive Condottiere has Pierce 2 for each smoke cloak and smoke thrower he's upgraded with, for a star. Now, my initial thoughts, man, I'm be interested to see what you think. Revealing a smoke cloak is pretty good. Smoke cloak's one of those armors it's okay. It was good. You played generally because it's a blue and black pip together, but it's kind of tough, has kind of fallen out of the meta. So it'd be interesting to see if that's relevant. But I do like the Pierce 2 for the smoke cloak and the smoke thrower. Have you ever played smoke thrower? Because I haven't.
Hard pass.
What do you think, mate? I think potentially giving him Pierce 4, because he's a great character anyway, giving him Pierce 4 could be pretty good.
I think it's really cool. It's super theme and niche, I think, because he just wants to run all the smoky things. Maybe we just have to have a hilarious build where we just call it Up in Smoke, maybe. I don't know. Just wants to have all the smoke, or maybe some sort of exhaust hilarious shenanigans, like Turbo Booster's artwork has some crazy shenanigans with exhausts going on in the artwork. You know, I like it. And we've talked about exhaust in our character episode. Very strong, very reliable for a car that is a Decepticon, which is impressive. Or so we say Decepticon Mercenary, sorry.
Yeah.
I think with this and some of the shenanigans you can build with some of the Autobot cars, Dave, get back to the garage, man. You need to think of some shenanigans.
I think so. Well, I've been speaking to Brian because he won the Bayformers event with a cars deck that had exhaust in it. So I'm going to be having a look at his list. And I think that's something that me and Claire are going to be doing, is looking a little bit more at some meta decks at some point as well, because there's quite a lot of activity. You'd think in lockdown and globally there wouldn't be many tournaments going on. Wrong. There's loads. You know, we've got Bayformers doing them, we've got ATP, we've also got other people like there's Eye of the Matrix stuff, there is Team PTSD. So there's a lot of meta stuff. So we're going to do some meta analysis. I think one of the first decks I'm going to look at is Brian's car deck, because it's cars and I love them. So coming soon.
Coming soon. Right. Okay, moving on. We've got number 33. We're almost at the end, guys. We're almost there. The finishing line is in the distance. It is V2 Sonic Surge Drone Armor. Jeez Louise, guys. Come on. Smaller words, please. Then this is for Raider Ravage Espionage Saboteur, which is obviously the Wave 3 Ravage, which is rather tasty. And it says, when your Raider Ravage Espionage Saboteur is untapped in alt mode and one of your other characters defends, you may tap Ravage. If you do, the defender gets armor, plus armor until the end of turn equal to Ravage's armor/defense. And also this card gives you +2 health, and it's a star card. I believe Ravage in the hilarious cassette mode is armor 4.
I think he's 3.
Is he
3? I think he is. Yeah. I'm just. Whilst you talk, I'm gonna look.
Yeah. Like we stated earlier, I really like the different takes with the cassettes. They're really, really cool. Ravage is obviously very iconic. And with when you're running, obviously Soundwave, who can work wonders with the Spy Patrol. Ravage is almost like an auto include because he is just a beefcake.
And say it with me! Beefcake!
Beefcake.
Beefcake!
Beefcake.
Beefcake!
In this mode, and obviously you can go either or. You can go like Laserbeak, you could do Ratbat, you can do multiple different things. Obviously they've introduced with ATP, they've just included Raider Overkill in their ATP 2 set. It's just rather tasty. You've got a load of cool cassettes, and just imagine just keeping your cassettes alive using this, and then using some of the fun cards that we have already from the Wizard set, like Micro Capacitor, to just untap him. That's pretty awesome. So, okay, I'll tap him to give him armor, but then I'll scrap my Micro Capacitor to untap Ravage. So basically, I can still do Ravage on my next fun shenanigans, but I'm going to benefit my other cassette with a defense bonus, which is unreal value. Your thoughts, Dave?
Yeah, it's cool. Like, it makes Ravage more, because he was definitely the worst of them. The ones that you kind of commonly saw after they were released were sort of Ratbat and Rumble were like much better value for their star cost. Laserbeak was good as well because for the 2 pairs. But Ravage having 7 health was always a bit naff. But he does have 3 armor in alt mode. So this is a tap, give someone +3 armor when they defend, which is good. If you are tandeming this with Overkill, and you can give, say, Overkill Brave, again, we're coming back to Brave and how good it is, you could keep Overkill in the game for a long time with this, and you'd swing with Major Soundwave and then untap it all. Ugh.
Yeah, it's pretty funny because obviously if you keep Overkill in alt mode, that's 3. Do some fun tap shenanigans with Ravage, he's going to 6. Ugh.
It's going to be really good, and there is a lot of anti-pierce tech across the fan sets as well. Like, ATP have got a few, and then you've got obviously the Arc gave us Trithelium, and then there's Tetranite microplating and other such things, as well as the ones that were in the Wizard sets as well. So I think blue walls can be viable again. It's just you've got to construct them in the right way. But this makes Ravage sort of playable, which he definitely was not. So the next one, we're almost there, aren't we? We've got 2 left.
We are. We have 2 left.
This is one of my favourites just because it's different. And this is for Axor Opportunistic Fencer. This is Vehicle Off-Road Cycle. And this says, when an upgrade is scrapped from your Axor Opportunistic Fencer, because he's the action master, isn't he? So he hasn't got an alt mode.
He is. He's only got 1 mode.
It says, place a fence counter on this. During your turn, when this has 2 or more fence counters, you may flip this and play it on him for a star. So I'm just immediately thinking of ways of easily doing this. Is you're just playing, obviously, Grenade Launcher and Fusion Bore and all that kind of card anyway. So, swing, attack, take this off. And then when you flip it, it turns into a motorcycle, which gives him +1 attack, +1 health. And when this is occupied for the first time, you may return a sidecar artillery from your scrap pile to your hand, which is a battle card we looked at last time, and we both loved that.
Yeah.
This is cool because it's completely different to anything we've seen before. And that artwork on the flip side is boss, mate. Look at that.
It's super cool. And guys, just if you didn't know, Sidecar Artillery is a white and black pip with the motorcycle in the black thing. It says when the upgraded character attacks it and has 3 attack or less after the battle, do 2 damage to an enemy and scrap it. So cool. Super cool weapon.
I think this wins probably my favourite just because of the cool factor in the set. I just like the fact it is doing something we've never seen before. Love it.
It's true.
And it's just a lot, it's really, really cool. Again, it's not apparent how powerful this is going to be, but I do think that recursion of Sidecar Artillery, because that's a good card. I think this could be really, really fun. Get some motorbike shenanigans going.
Our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really.
I like it a lot. So, we're here. We're at the finishing line, guys. It is 35 of 35. And we finished on a really interesting one. I really like this one. This is Verdant 8. Oh, why do I have Aegis? Yeah, I thought it is. my gosh, guys. Everyone knows. Whenever I read out cards, my dyslexia just goes does not compute. But anyway, this is for Private Greenlight Special Ops Recon. It's a stratagem. It's for 1 star, and it says while your Private Greenlight Special Ops Recon is in bot mode and she is upgraded with at least 3 green upgrades, she cannot take more than 4 damage from a single attack, and it also gives her +1 attack. Immediately, I'm smiling from ear to ear because I had a hilarious build way back in the day with that stun gun.
Yes.
From wave 5, because that was just way too much fun not to. Just because of all the stupidity. I think it was Sonic Stun Gun, where it's like it's a green action. It's a green weapon. It's like when you play a green card, the upgraded character gets +1 attack. So it just feels so themed with green light, green cards, green everything. Hey, maybe I have to just have a deck called Green Day or something, and just have loads of green cards in it or something. Like, I like it. Green Light is a really good character, and to have the ability of basically only take 4 damage keeps her around for a while, just because, you know, to be honest, she would take a lot of damage because she obviously has Safeguard in one of her modes, so she can only take 3 to begin with, but then obviously she only has 12 health, so after that you need to keep her around in long enough, and to have like a built-in force field all the time, it's pretty darn good. And the ability also of the character's upgrades not being able to be scrapped by opponents' cards is phenomenal. And obviously she is a specialist, so you get all those fun specialist shenanigans. Yep, all those fun, crazy cards. Your thoughts, Dave?
Yeah, it's really good, because you're going to be able to get her to that point where she has got at least 3 green upgrades.
Yep.
Because in her car mode, they can't be scrapped. So, that, you know, you could just like, well, I'm just going to save up my attack drones and splooge them on her, extra puddings, all those, like, you know, was it from Wave 5 Triangulator? There's many ways you can get her to not just 3 upgrades, but well beyond that. So she's kind of safe from the removal. So she's going to be a real pain in the bum to get rid of. She's got Safeguard to start the game, and then late game she's going to be like, I've got permanent force field, come at me.
Come at me, bro.
Great. Yeah, great card. Really is. Really is good. I like Green Light because she was very different, because at the time I think she's one of the only characters that prevented people from scrapping upgrades. You know, it's not really been in the Wizards design space, hadn't been explored. I know ATP have gone on to explore that further. It's cool to see Green Light get a little bit of help, because I think she's very cool. And like you say, Sonic Stun Gun on her, particularly, is it in bot mode? She gets like +2 whenever you play a green card or something stupid.
Well, she just gets +1, but then you put Stun Gun on,
and it's +2.
Then it becomes +2. So then you think about it: extra padding. Ugh, fun times. So there's +6 already. And then loads of other fun shenanigans you can put, because I believe it's just on, if it's on her or on other characters as well. So she could go off. She could really tee off. She's a fun character.
She definitely is. But you know, sort of closing thoughts from me, you know, is I think the stratagems have really opened up several old characters, you know, which is really cool, and it's given us some really interesting strategies that you can take with their new characters. What do you think about the set? Now we've looked at all of it. What do you think about World Strike?
So, we've made it. We're at the finishing line. We're now drinking Lucasade or whatever kind of... We've probably got oxygen tanks on because we've been running for God knows how long with this review over 3 parts. I really like the set. I think the set is interesting over... I think, honestly, from a creative standpoint, very ballsy. And the way I say that is because you bring in a faction that is very either loved or kind of like very, what the hell are these tentacle monster guys? I never really understood that. into the game, and you've given them a very different play style. You've given them enough utilities and enough like cards for them to stick around and be relevant from the get-go. And then also with your battle cards, it's really cool to see what you've done for them, and also across the board for other characters, specifically melee characters. I think have really been, you know, smiling from ear to ear with this set. And the stratagems, I think, Dave, you nailed it there. Like, there's some characters now that I'm looking at and I'm like, I want to try and build a Dinobot Slug deck. I would like to try and build a Ruckus Stupid deck. You know, just giving characters love, and also seeing them have some design aspects in there where there might be some broken combos. There might give some longevity to 2-wide teams, etc. and stuff like that. But overall, I really, really, really like this set. And if this is like how we've discussed every other set, the only way is up or down right now, because you've set quite an interesting benchmark for you guys. Like, the Quintessons are awesome. I know Dave's been playing them and having a ton of fun. They're very interesting to build. Like, figuring out how they can work is probably going to be really interesting to see where people will take them in the not too distant future. But overall, this set is awesome. I really think this is worth a try. And that is like the highest praise I could probably say from a set. Like, Quintessons, I never thought I'd be raving about tentacle weird aliens. Like, honestly, sounds really sketchy to say that out loud on a podcast, but it's true. I never thought I'd be raving about robot tentacles. Dave, your thoughts?
Yeah, so my thoughts, man, like I think what an achievement, really, because BAYFORMERS is a smaller team than, say, like with the big groups like Alpha Trion Protocols and the Arc. You know, there's not as many designers. I know they've got quite a lot of play testers, but what an achievement to go in and bring into the game a brand new faction, completely design it from the ground up and make it different to anything else in the game. I think that's really commendable. I think they're super fun to play. I'm really enjoying it. I've only just scratched the tip of the iceberg with the set, really. There's some strong powerhouse staple cards like Open Agenda, Turnabout Snare. There's some really, really solid cards that are going to find their way into non-Quintesson decks. They've gone back to old characters, revamped them. Some of these stratagems, like Wave 1 Bombshell, Wave 1 Ramjet, like, I'm actually kind of interested to see what I can do with them. Our Slugfest marathon that we're going to do it with the guys on a Thursday night. Just who can build the craziest slug deck. Yeah, I just blown away by it all, really. I think it's great. And I think, you know, it's just listeners, if you want to be hooking up with the BAYFORMERS guys and playing some games, they've got a really active community on their Discord as well, haven't they, Lee? They've got like a lot going on. So,
well, I would like to know, due to the fact every time I seem to accept it, it doesn't want me to join. So I really want people to like invite me without, because I have the app. I don't have it physically on the website. So it keeps trying to get me through to the website, and then it just like fails. So I can't actually see like the BAYFORMERS. I know it exists. It's kind of like I'm on the outside and I'm not allowed in.
Oh, sad, yeah. lonely
It's sad
Lee.
pandas, man. Yeah, all by myself, mate. That's what I feel like right now.
Yeah, I'll try and rectify that. I'll try and invite you in a minute. But no, it's a really vibrant community. I'd say it's as active as Alpha Trion, so and the Vector Sigma server. So it's definitely worth getting involved with if you like the look of this set and want to play some games. They've got stuff going on all the time. No, I think it's a fantastic set, and I can't just reiterate what you said. Like, it can only really go up as far as I'm concerned. If they're going to give us Quintessons, I'm excited for like Junkions and where they're going to take them, because I'd love to see a whole faction of Junkions. That'd be awesome.
It's 100% true. Like, I keep figuring out how people could do it, like, because they're just basically like meh guys, aren't they? They're just like a new kind of horde, if you will. So I don't know if you have like them just named solo guys that can either have the melee trait or the range trait or the specialist trait, and then effectively you can build like a team with like a couple of characters and a few normal minion ones that basically have a specific trait, so you can use some of those cool cards like Assault Formation or, you know, like Wedge Formation, or you could just run all the shenanigans with, I want to just run all specialist guys or all ranged guys or all, you know, melee guys. I don't know how they're going to do it. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued how the Junkions are actually going to be put in this game more than anything.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to try and tease some spoilers out of Adam when we speak to him on our next episode.
Yeah, we're just going to have to squeeze him. We'll squeeze him for the life. No, well, squeeze the life out of him. That sounds a bit rude. Just try and get some spoilers for the next set, because I know those guys. I know Adam's jumping at the bit to jump on, so it should be a great episode, the next one.
Yeah, definitely. We've got quite a lot lined up, haven't we? You know, we kind of touched on it earlier. You know, come out Alpha Trion Protocols 3 dropped this week, so we're going to be looking at that, I think, after we speak to Adam in detail. It's not as fortunately, it's not as monster a set as World Strike. You know, it's a much more set. So we're going to be looking at that. What have you got coming out on your channel in the next couple of weeks?
I have a lot of stuff that has been put kind of back because of editing these monster episodes. Like, I've been just editing these and trying to get them out. Like, at this precise moment in time, I'm enjoying editing. Obviously, I've started a new job as well, guys. If you didn't know, I was a support worker beforehand. I am still staying with the profession of being a support worker, working with young people with learning difficulties. I have just changed jobs, and I'm absolutely loving it. So I'm still getting adjusted to my new role and my new place of employment. But at the same time, I'm enjoying doing a ton of stuff. Like, I am doing more Transformer stuff. I'm actually having time to socialize with Dave and others and playing this fantastic game. I'm having the opportunity to paint minis. You know, there's stuff outside of my channel that I'm actually getting time to do, which has been really, really rewarding. There's some fun stuff down the pipeline. Obviously, we keep testing it and teasing it. And we just got to find the right format and figure out how we can do it. And to be honest, I think it might be happening in the next couple of months. We just need to finalize and make it look nice and shiny. But it's definitely something. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's something very interactive that you guys can tune in and watch and be a part of. I think that doesn't give it too much away, I think, Dave.
No, we've got something really cool planned. It's going to be like a collaboration of several individuals, so I'm really, really psyched about that. Yeah, I haven't got much different coming up my end. I've just been editing matches, because we've got quite a lot going on. We're trying to find time to record a great war match, because that is a really cool alternate format for the game. And you know me, I'm well into my alternate format, so that's still on the back burner. My deck's built. It's disgusting. Claire hates it, and she's trying to build a deck of her own. And she doesn't do a lot of deck building Transformers, so it's taking a little bit longer than normal because she's quite a perfectionist. I remember when we used to build Magic decks, she'd just take forever to tweak her Commander decks, and it's kind of the same thing. She's still trying to find the right team. She tried Metroplex and just found it wasn't consistent enough, because obviously you're running a lot more cards. So that's come in. Obviously, we've got. I'm playing a lot more. I'm probably playing 2 to 3 times a week.
Good.
I'm playing Salty next week from BOA. I'm hooking up with him via webcam, which would be cool. Haven't spoken to him for a while, so that'd be nice. What else? Stuff, really. Just, you know, we've had contact from the guy from the Great War. We've had contact from the guy that did Wave X. You know, it's all stuff. We are literally queued up, aren't we? We've got like a waiting list of people. It just shows the passion that the community have got, and it's really nice to have contact from everyone in the community. You know, I've had loads of contact this week because I dropped my first video with the BAYFORMERS gameplay, so like they were, whoa, there's, you know, well behind it. It's a grind as well. It's like over an hour long, that game, so it's a grind. It's that last line of defense is just savage. So if you want to see it in full flow, go and watch that. I've bitched enough about that card tonight anyway. So, but no, yeah, like, thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for everything. Hopefully for the next episode, so start thinking of them now. Get your questions in for Adam about his design experience, what his expectations are moving forward, and everything like that. You know, we've got a ton of questions. I'm sure you guys have as well. So get your questions brewing. You can ping them to me or Lee on Facebook, or just drop them in the comments section below this video. You know, like, get the questions in, because we really want to grill him on on what's going to be coming out for them in the future. Like, what's their tournament scene going to be? What, you know, yada yada, that sort of thing. So
100%. Dave's done pretty much everything, so I'm excited that the man over there, the co-host, is nailing it for me. I'm so excited. So, guys, if you've enjoyed the trilogy, if you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a like. A like is much appreciated. If you've enjoyed any of the podcasts we've brought to you, go back and drop a like on them. A like is much appreciated. If you're listening via iTunes /Podbean and stuff like that, leave a rating. It's always appreciated. I know we get a fair few downloads because of people driving. So you get two different mediums. You get to look at the cards on these reviews, but also you get to hear what we talk about and stuff. So it's kind of interesting to see how people listen to us and watch us. So it's kind of interesting to see the demographic, because I get to analyze all this, and it's pretty much half and half at the moment, Dave. It's pretty interesting.
That's really cool.
It is rather tasty. So, guys, that was the Bayformers. I can say, case closed. We're done. The review is complete. The trilogy is done. The three-parter is done. Now we get to relax for about a week and some change, and then we're going to get Adam on. And we're going to grill him. No, we're not going to grill him. We're going to talk to Adam, and we're going to see what the dealio is with the Bayformers. And obviously, if you guys out there don't know anything about the Bayformers, that's a perfect episode for you guys to listen to get a little bit of behind the scenes of what the team's about, how they got into Transformers and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about everything and anything. So it's going to be an absolute amazing episode. So guys, hopefully you'll tune back in to listen to that lovely podcast. Now, guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. It's awesome. It's always appreciated. Also, in the link below, and also at the end of this thumbnail, if you're watching it on YouTube, go subscribe to Dave's channel, the ENERGON Hustlers, as well. Give Dave some love. That's all I'm going to say. Show him some love. Some gorgeous smiley face love with some support. It's always appreciated. Always appreciated. So it's a goodbye from me, Lee.
And a goodbye from me, Dave.
And we'll see you next time for an interview with the good man of Adam from the Bayformers. But until next time, guys, take care, have a good one, and still keep playing Transformers.
One shall stand, one shall fall.